Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your girl, Tezlyn Figaro. This is The Culture Speaks on Revolt. Hey, let me just say, no other network has did it like this, which you're getting ready to see. Make sure you tag a friend. Make sure you invite somebody because we're getting it in. Many of you joined us last time and said you hated that a lot of people didn't catch it, so make sure that you catch it this time. I'm Tezlyn Figaro again. I am the chief political correspondent for Revolt Black News, but they also call me the Hood Whisperer. And tonight we have a real versus going on, a real panel here to get it in. Want to make sure I introduce my guests. We have Atlanta activist Scotty Smart, who is also a Democrat. Yeah. Proud, card-carrying Democrat. That's important because we want to have a different conversation. And then we have our brother over here, committee chair of Georgia Black Republican Council, Azad Ahmadi. And clearly, you are for the Trump team.
That's right.
Can we zoom in on the shoes?
That's right.
Can we zoom in on the shoes?
And we're going to get the new ones when them get released.
Can we zoom in on mine? Our other special guest will be my red shoes as well. So let's make sure.
Iverson's on mine.
Yeah, let's make
So y'all secretly leaning to the right.
Yeah. Well, I love red, so I love red. And then joining us virtually is chair and founder of Chicago, Rae Easley. And you are actually, Rae, you are at the convention, correct? Okay, look for the volume on. She's at the convention.
Yes, I am.
Okay, but she's definitely at the convention.
I'm here at the convention.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. We're going to talk to you about that in just a second because I want to know what it's been like to be on the ground. It's nothing like, being among the energy. And so I want to ask you in a moment what that's been like. But then we also want to welcome our other guest. You saw her at our last debate. She was here on the couch with us, Vice President of Spelman Democrats, Ariana Levin. So thank you for being here again, sis. I'd love to have you again in studio. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Well, let's get to it. I got to get the guests warmed up, guys. So we're going to get warmed up, no worries. Make sure you grab some wine, popcorn, whatever you need, because we're going to have a great conversation tonight. We're going to have some pre-conversation. We're going to watch Trump's actual address. So we're going to watch that live. So make sure that you're watching. We're going to stream that on YouTube. So you do not have to go to another network. Watch it with us. Jump in the comments. Interact. Make sure that you're staying involved. And then we're going to have post commentary as well. So we got a long evening. I want to get straight to talking about Wisconsin for a second. A lot of folks, and I did an interview today with a Wisconsin radio station, and it's a lot going on in Wisconsin that a lot of people are not talking about. And we thought it was important at Revolt News to highlight what is going on with Black folks. You didn't hear it in the convention. Obviously, not going to talk about just Wisconsin, but this is our opportunity to show why it's important and why Black media matters. Check out this package quickly on Wisconsin, and we're going to come back and talk about that in a second.
Wisconsin, if it's health, African-American adult population is the most obese in America. Incarceration, we lead the nation. Unemployment, the disparity between the white student and the Black student.
Right now, Milwaukee has one of the worst jobless rates for Black men in the country.
I don't know if they really understand the impact that is taken on the toll that is taken on the people who aren't able to pay their bills.
It's a place where rejection occurs often.
A new report shows alarming news for Wisconsin when it comes to youth of color. It says the gap in well-being between Black and white children in Wisconsin is the highest in the country.
The state of Wisconsin also has the highest Black incarceration rate in the country.
Racism has been a part of Wisconsin history since it began as a state. I oftentimes joke with people that I call Wisconsin Mississippi, because we generally think of racism in the South.
You are reminded of being oppressed everywhere you go.
Black women in Wisconsin are at a higher risk of violence.
Data from the CDC says in 2020, Wisconsin had the highest homicide rate for Black women in the country. That rate doubled from 2019 to 2020.
How many more Black women or girls have to be sacrificed in this state before we do something?
Okay, guys, that's a problem.
For sure.
That's a problem. No matter what side of the aisle you're on, that is an absolute problem. I did an interview today, shout out to 101.7 The Truth, and they were asking me, they're there at the convention as well, and they kept talking about, Biden, Trump, and I wanted to direct the attention to the real issues that matter on what we just saw. When you talk about the worst place, rated the worst place for Black Americans, that is a real problem. Those are things that we did not hear about at the convention. We heard the, you know, a lot of the first night, I'm just gonna be honest with you, night one was, I guess, let's roll out all the black folks. You know, we had all the black spokespeople that were.
Except for when they panned the crowd, but.
Yeah, except when they panned the crowd. Let's just go and keep it real. It was more black people on stage than it was in the audience. But we're gonna let you respond to that in a second.
Sorry.
No, sorry, let's get it in. This is why they tapped in so the culture speaks. So let the culture speak. We're gonna give the brother an opportunity to respond to that. But it really was. It was a lot of black folks on the stage that talked about. It was very interesting to talk about how there was no racism in America. You know, Tim Scott said there was no racism in America, but then talked about how his parents survived racism. That was a little odd. So we're gonna get into that. But quickly, I want to get a feel for what's actually happening on the ground while we're on that conversation, and I want to get into Wisconsin. So let me ask you, P. Rae, what has been the vibe with about, you know, the vibe on the convention floor? What has the energy been? Give us like a little bit of breakdown. And also any of those issues that we just heard as far as one of the highest incarceration rates among black Americans. We talk about how they're struggling in school, all of those things. Did you hear any of that addressed specifically? I know they talked a lot about what's going on with black Americans, but give us a rundown of what's happening at the convention.
Well, if you are an American patriot, this is the place to be. We are having a ball. MAGA, it's actually MAGA on, Make America Great Once Again. We are here to support the president and let the people know that America comes first. This is an America First conference. We're talking about the issues that affect the American people. On the first night, they did have a lot of speakers that were black. And they were talking about their experience that brought them over to MAGA. It's not surprising to me that Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Racine, all of these very liberal blue places, black people are suffering. We've always suffered under the Democratic Party. This is the party that went to war against the U.S. government to keep us enslaved. They're the party that gave us the Ku Klux Klan. They're the party that gave us Jim Crow, that took an act of Congress to make them stop their state-sponsored terrorism. They're the ones who put the expressways through our neighborhoods. They're the ones that closed the schools in Chicago. They're the ones who tore down in Chicago and hoarded over $1 billion. Talk about the Democrats. We have too much to celebrate amongst ourselves. And we're explaining to them about this move that we're making to the Republican Party. All we do is tell them, make the Republicans stand on their record. And their record has shown us consistently that they do not like us, they do not care about us. And if your self-esteem is high, you're gonna get away from the people who are abusing you. So we're putting on our gym shoes, tying them up real tight, and running to the right.
Well, I'm just gonna keep it real with you, sister. I'm an independent, and I appreciate, you know, the party, you know, that you are obviously, you know, representing and stand by. But there's not a lot of, you guys could use some help in black outreach. Would you agree to that? There's a, when, like, just even.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am.
There's a lot that can be done as far as black outreach. So when we talk about, I'm just gonna keep it real. When we talk about they're the party that this, they're the party with that, to me is very much two wings of the same bird. So there's not one to me that, oh, this is just, they just all of this in a bag of chips. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't mind having the conversation about black America and what black America needs to do. But when I see black speakers standing on the stage and talking in a very down way, like when we talk about, oh, liberals run the cities, well, let's talk about who are the governors of many of these states, which are Republicans, and that's how the money does not trickle down to the cities. So we just I just want to be fair about it, but I appreciate, the reason why we're having this conversation is to have both sides.
In Chicago.
Yeah, but we keep saying, what about Chicago? Let's move past just Chicago. I lived in Chicago as well, and I know that I know that's the talking point. You know, what about Chicago? But we also have to go.
My house.
Yeah, no, that's fine, sister.
That's my house. That's where I come from.
And I live in LA, and I lived in Chicago.
Our boogeyman is not the Republican.
Yeah. But see, again, the boogeyman also ain't your savior. That's my opinion.
Democrats.
So although
the thing is, we're not running to be saved. We're running away from our villain.
Right.
And that's the point. What makes Chicago Red work so well, because the villains in our lives are not white Republican boogeymen. These are fellow black people who are members of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, and I disagree, because there's no white savior on either side, and it's okay for us to disagree. So if there's no boogeyman, if the Democrats are the boogeyman, then the Republicans are most certainly the boogeyman. But that's just me. Let Scotty respond. Who don't know him?
Our
community
doesn't.
Let's move outside of just Chicago. Let's move outside of just Chicago. Let's move outside of Chicago. Because I've been going on Fox News for 10 years, so I know all about that. What about Chicago? Let's move outside of just Chicago. Let's expand the conversation.
I agree.
Go ahead.
So DC suffers from the same issues. Baltimore suffers from the same issues. Miami suffers from the same issues. New York suffers from the same issues. Los Angeles suffers from the same issues.
And who are the governors of those
the reality is in our community, and I'm from the inner city, right?
Okay. So am I from the hood.
Yep. Okay. So, and I'm from DC. So the reality is, in our communities, we run it. Okay. Black Democrats run it all, right? Black Democrats are chief of police. Black Democrats are running your school system, right? They're your school board superintendents. Blacks, the list goes on, black mayor, et cetera, so forth and so on. And that history dates back to like 1927, where the young sister is from, in Chicago, right? Where we have systemically voted for, against our own best interest. And I think that is something that we need to be more apprised to in our community.
I don't think people have a problem with that, and I'm gonna go to you. I think the problem comes in, at least for me, where we're painting like one better than the other, as if that white Malcolm X said it best. I have no problem. I go off on Democrats all the time, but I like to keep it balanced and keep it fair. Sure. There's no they're so bad, and Republicans, the same white man that was a part of that same oppression, that they're so great, because something is missing in the messaging. And I think if you deal, Sonny Johnson, she's been a conservative for a very long time, very close friend of mine, and we talk all the time. And I think if there's more conversation about the issue, instead of Democrat, Republican, Democrat, I grew up with Bloods and Crips, so I know all about this gang banging. When we're picking one or the other as if one is so much more better, that's why the message is not connecting. That's why it's not as many black people as involved. I will agree with you that black people, for the most part, are moderate. Black people, for the most part, our history has traditionally been pretty conservative for that part. But when we're missing that by sitting up here acting as if one party is so much better than the other, just my personal opinion, it's why I can't, gravitate even to hear the conversation, because it sounds like we're putting each other down. Go ahead, and then I want Ariana to jump in right after you.
I'm going to echo the same sounds that you said. When you look at it, you have to be able to have clarity about who's in positions, right? You talked about the mayors, but let's say for Atlanta, in a sense, right? Black. But when you get to the governor, he stopped a lot of funding coming down to the cities. When you talk about the senators or who's in Congress, how is that playing? We have to talk about the entire process, right? There's no one person that's just going to make a check and everything's going to change overnight, right? If you don't have a Republican-controlled House, do we get more things done for Congress, right? So how are we sitting here fighting about party lines, or are we doing what's best for the American people?
Well, I think that the arguments that Democrats make relative to the socioeconomic policies that best benefit our community, I think that the arguments that they make are pretty ludicrous. The reality in our communities is not that there's a lack of resources. The real challenge in our communities is the underutilization of existing resources. I just went to a PTA meeting.
Wait,
I just went to a PTA meeting in a blue city. Okay, in the bottom 1/3 of our community, where people are suffering the most. Let's just say that. And there are 33 students in the class, and only 3 parents showed up. Right? So, and there are computers. There's a computer lab. There are resources. But to get off of the bottom of the socioeconomic totem pole, we really need to look a little further inside of our community, and we need to do a little work.
Can I address that just for a second? And I agree. Can we agree that two things can be true at the same time? There could be an underutilization of resources, but it also could be where we're not getting enough resources too. Two things can be true at the same time. So I have a master's in adult education. I've been subbing in inner city schools for about 10 or 15 years. And so if we want to be fair about why a lot of people are not at those PTA meetings, a lot of the folks are working 2 and 3 jobs.
No, they're not.
A lot of people, no, that's not true.
That's not true.
So how many schools? So wait a minute, hold on. Let me just, let's break out. No, wait a minute.
I'm
hold
fortunate
on.
enough
No.
I'm fortunate enough to be in the community, so we got to be careful about the truth.
Excuse me. Hold on. Wait a minute. One second. I just want to ask you. I'm not talking. You're not in every community. I just want to ask you. How many? Can I just ask you this?
I have the privilege of traveling around.
Can I ask you this? I ain't talking about traveling, brother. Just
quite frankly.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Just relax. Just relax, baby. Hold on. Relax. It's okay.
Yeah. I got you.
I just want to ask you a question.
But I want to be sure we clear.
We are, but I want to be clear about something too, about
our own reality.
I want to be about our own reality. I'm gonna ask you, how many schools have you worked in? as a teacher? It's just a simple yes or no.
Yeah. So my father is
no, I'm not talking about your father.
So my father
I'm talking
is an
about
educated.
you. No,
I went to a HBCU,
This is a
grew up in an
simple
all-black
question.
community.
I'm not talking
elementary, middle school, and high school.
Sir,
listen.
I'm asking. I want to talk about this
today,
teacher to teacher.
Democrats run
Hold on, relax. We know that.
We
Relax.
don't want to be honest about what's happening in our community.
But I just want to ask you an honest question.
We need to get honest. So we're not utilizing the resources that exist.
That's fine. We got that. Check. We're underutilized. We got that. Can we move on to the next question?
Let's move on.
I want to ask you the question, and I just want you to be able to answer it. With how many schools have you? Not your daddy, not your mom. It's just a simple question.
I've been into at least 15 schools in inner cities
how many schools have you taught?
In blue city.
I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you that, brother. Just be honest with the conversation. We're going to get to the conversation. I believe charter schools. Yes, one second. I'm talking to this brother. See, y'all got to learn how to hold on y'all own talking points. We don't need no tag team. What branch are you in the military?
I was an Army officer.
Okay, I was Air Force M60 gun. I heard you earlier when you said you were a veteran.
Yeah.
We don't need no tag team. This ain't Hulk Hogan. He's speaking at the RNC. We're going to do this one-on-one. This is important. I'm not doubting your experience. I'm not doubting your dad as an educator. I'm not doubting the places that you visited. And I will get to you, sister, as an educator. I just want to simply ask, because it is a difference when you're working, just like I can't tell you about the Trump, what it's like being over there, because you actually work there. So I just want to ask, how many years have you taught as a teacher in the school? Because that is a difference. If you haven't, just say you haven't.
So I haven't been educated.
So that's it.
I haven't been educated.
And it's nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean you don't have a lens, but I want to make sure that our listeners are hearing from different lenses. Sister, we're going to get to you in a second about her experience as an educator. That is a difference, because when you are teaching at Millwood High School, like I did, Millwood High School as a sub for a year straight, and I only have 12 books that I have to spread out between 50 or 60 students because we did not have the resources. A school that I actually grew up in that was a black charter school, by the way, one of the top in the city, and I literally had to share 12 books among 100 students. We literally had to create a hip-hop program in order to teach vocabulary. These were parents that I would ask to come to the PTA that could not come to the PTA because they were working. So let's be fair. It doesn't mean that's across the board everywhere. I know it's lazy-ass parents.
Yep.
I am a mother.
Do
you have any children?
I do.
Okay.
I do, unfortunately.
So I do. So what I'm saying is, two things can be true at the same time. The reason why we set this up is to show two things can be true at the same time. Sure. You can be underutilized and not have resources. You can have a lens on the public school, and also I can be somebody to work in the public school. And I think that's how we're able to move this conversation further, instead of thinking I'm attacking you for saying you're not a teacher. I'm just giving my teacher lens.
And I didn't feel like you were attacking me. I just wanted to. I just
want to make sure we got different lenses.
Sure.
And so let's go to our sister Ariana. I think she wanted to chime in as well. And then Peasley, I want to get back to you, because she says she is an educator, and so we want to have that conversation. And also, HBCU collegiate experience is very, very different than the public school experience. So that's all I'm saying. Go ahead, Ariana.
I can speak to not only a public school education experience, but as well as an HBCU experience, as I'm currently an HBCU student at Spelman College now. And I feel as though I'm the most recently public school educated, most recently on this panel here today, as well as the only Generation Z. I think we really just need to, you can speak from a perspective of a teacher, but you'll never know what it feels like to be a student in those situations. And I have had teachers and educators who have been Black and have been a resource for me, but I was born and raised in a predominantly white area, went to predominantly white schools with predominantly white friends, but I still ended up going to an HBCU. I think we really just need to listen to our students and what they want, because adults can speak for us all they want. They'll never understand what we're actually going through as younger people in this generation that is ever so just consistently messing up for us. And as I said last time I was on here, my generation is doing a lot to undo the damage that has been done, and we're just trying to work towards that goal. You have to listen to students and listen to younger people and what they want, as opposed to just speaking for us.
Yeah, but I don't want to say we'll never understand. Absolutes are really important. I'm an OG, baby. I've been in the game. There can't no YG, BG tell me what I'll never understand, because I done been there and did that.
Very few things are 100% true.
Yeah. We want to make sure, that everybody has a different viewpoint. And it's important that we represent that. It's important, that we say, but let's also say we'll never understand what it's like to not be a student, because everybody been a student.
Well, no. So, I would never say that. Yeah. I mean, in this current political climate and just climate of the world, being young nowadays as opposed to when everyone else on this panel was in school, other people will never be able to understand what it's like going to school and worrying about school shootings, as opposed to people who are my age and have to live through that fear every single day.
Sure.
So
Well,
that's what
I mean, and all I want to say is, because it is important that we have cross-generational, conversations. I could easily say I grew up in the Blood and Crip territory in the 90s. So we actually did have to worry about getting shot. We actually had metal detectors. So yes, although you have the concern of people coming shooting up schools, one in however many times that happened, I had to deal with it on a daily basis. My first funeral was in the 5th grade and every year thereafter. So I could also, put that argument. So the point is that we recognize what you're saying. We listen to what you say. There is a real fear about school shootings, but we had school shootings too, but it was just a little, and it was inner city. It was us killing each other. So I just think it's important that we all listen to each other, because at the end of the day, we're going to be stuck with each other for the next 40, 50 years. That's the bottom line. 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. God say the same. My grandmother's 92. So we're going to have to figure this out one way or the other. And opposed of us saying what one doesn't know, or what Republican doesn't know, Democrat doesn't know, this age doesn't know, that age doesn't know. That's why we're having the Culture Speaks, in order to be able to get a better understanding. Ms. Peasley, you wanted to chime in on being an educator. Rae Easley, I'm sorry, I called
Correct.
you Peasley.
I'm Rae. Yes, Rae Easley. Yes, up at Chicago Red. So I have a master's degree in education as well, in language literacy and culture. And I've worked internationally with very, very wealthy students. And I've worked at Chicago alternative high schools with the soldiers of Chirac. So I have a very long paradigm of the students that I've seen. And what I've seen for very, very wealthy students and very, very poor students, that in both groups, there is no expectation for them to join the workforce and come into society. So at the very wealthy schools, they are not challenging them. At the very poor schools, they are not challenging them. At the wealthy school, when I called my student's mom, and her dad manages the resources for the Democratic Republic of Congo, they got millions of dollars. I called her and told her that her child was not doing her work at her $25,000 a year school. Her mother came in the classroom with her Gucci bag and told us, let me tell y'all something. She's never getting a job. We have enough money. She's not going to college. We put her here to socialize and network. Do not call me again about her homework. Picked up her bag and sauntered out of the classroom. We would expect the same thing out of a very poor parent. This is what they say. They say, that's your business. You deal with them there. So I think that across the board, we're dealing with the soft bigotry of low expectations.
Yeah,
and because the expectation is for these students not to join society, that's why we're having this problem. And that comes through people looking at people like they're pitiful charities rather than fully capable people.
And again, I just have to keep pushing back on that, because again, absolutes are important. There are people who are trash, that are not doing what they're supposed to do, but there's also great products that come out of Black America as well. All of your speakers this week said that it was great products that come out of Black America. So again, my problem with, again, I'm just gonna be honest, on the Republican side or even on the Democrat side, I don't like talking down as if people can't pull themselves up out of bootstraps too. You talking to a bona fide bootstrap puller upper. I done pulled up all the bootstraps and then some.
Nothing
but
I
it's
said.
I didn't say you said that, sweetie. I didn't say you said that. No, I didn't say you said that. I'm just giving my point of view.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just giving you my point of view. See, everything's not a debate and a challenge. I never said you said that. I said what's important to me is that we're showing every side of the coin. And so we say that the problem is, again, I'm going to keep reiterating it over and over. Absolutes are really important that we just don't say. The problem is we have low expectations. That's for some. That's not all. That's all I'm saying. I don't disagree that your experience is your experience. If you saw that in the classroom, then that's what you saw. But I've also
it's indicative in the data.
Yeah, but it's not.
Black
but the data
rate is at 8%.
But the data,
8%.
right?
How did it get so low? Because they've been passing them along because they did not believe that those boys were capable of learning more. So they gave them the bare minimum, and now we're at a literacy rate that is much lower than it was 50 years ago.
Right, and it also
much more
right, and the data also shows
funding,
right, and
much more everything.
And the data also shows that Black people are the most educated, they're doing better. So again, I'm going to have y'all back on the school choice conversation, because clearly this is something that always goes viral. Right. We always have this debate on school choice. All I'm saying, sister, everybody ain't trash. That's my only. It's okay to say no, but I'm saying
nobody.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just
careful.
It's just I just want to make sure that we're showing both sides, because this is why people ain't coming to the Republican side. I'm just telling you, because they keep. Hold on, ma'am. Let me parents or whatever it is. Let me get this out, ma'am. Okay, I got you. We got your point. It's locked and loaded. All I'm saying is, it's important. if you want to reach more people and more people hear what you have to say, I'm telling you why they cut it off. Why they cut it off? Because you're in there repping gangbanging for Republicans. So if you talk about the issue, I'm just giving you my opinion. Somebody organized hundreds and hundreds of people every year to run campaigns, to get involved. They will hear more of what you have to say if we're not in here gangbanging for one side or the other. That's my own.
But it's never been inclusive.
Yeah.
That side has never been inclusive. It's always been a narrative of isolating some type of demographic to make it a fear-mongering, saying, oh, this demographic's doing this, and you're losing out on this. That's their tactic. That's what it's always been. And if we're talking about school choice, you're complaining about the school system.
That's the Democrat tactic.
If you're complaining about the school system, then what is your solution? Because what you're saying is, what your agenda says, Agenda 47, says that you want to make it private Christian schools. So you don't even want the open minds of any other person to be even suggested in what they believe in. So what is your suggestion? What is your solution to the problem? It's taking funding from low-income areas to put them in private schools. 80% of private schools are Christian ran. What about other nationalities? You got all these people talking about this immigration problem, but they're married to immigrants. So who gets to stay and who gets to go?
So you mind?
Go.
You mind?
Illegal people have to go.
Well, let me just chime in for a second, because I want to go back. I want to go back in this conversation a little bit. The pretense that Black Americans are going to somehow be liberated from their circumstance under the basis that they're going to educate is one that many Black scholars have come online and said, many have come online and said is actually a farce. That's number one. Because I'm not saying you can't. Like we said, we're talking about absolutes, right? I'm not talking in absolutes. Now, what I'm saying is that education isn't going to necessarily liberate Black people. As you stated, we're the most educated group in the world. 29% of bachelor's degrees handed out last year were to Black females, 22% to Black males, right? I think that the greater issue...
of Black wealth is being spent doing what? Paying them back those funds,
So let me finish. So when we start talking about solutions, what we're really talking about is getting back to the values that worked for us 50, 60 years ago, like she was referring to. Let me finish. Right? Part of the challenge that we have today in our communities, right, is that part of the problem that we have is that there aren't two parents in a household. Okay, and we talked quite a bit about. You talked quite a bit about Republicans somehow offering something to Black folks, which I vehemently disagree with. The reality is that the things that Democrats have offered Black Americans have accepted, and it turns out that the things that we accepted had a poor outcome for our communities. Welfare is a great example of that, right? The fact of the matter is, the government on your side of the house.
More white people on welfare, though. We do know that,
but we can't. But
I know, but I just want to put that stat out.
I understand that. I understand that.
No, I got you.
That's true.
Go ahead.
But what I'm saying is, number one, because I got to address that.
Yeah.
Right. Our standard.
Then we got to transition.
Our standard can't be what poor white Americans are.
Oh, that's definitely not our standard. I just want to put the facts out there because people feel like you talking.
Can I finish? Can I finish, bro? Can I finish? Let me finish.
This is great, by the way. Make sure you tag in somebody.
The reality in this situation is that policies like welfare incentivize women to not be with men. And we have 60 years of that. We have 60 years of evidence to prove it. And
I got to transition, but we need to have a show just on that alone.
Hold on, brother, because I want to respond to that as a Republican very quickly. So one reason, to Tezlyn's point, when the Republicans and the conservatives come to Black people, it's usually to talk about our deficits, okay? And that's one reason that our movement in Chicago is working very well, is because we don't believe in telling people their secrets to their faces. And when you wake up every day, you know what's wrong with you, okay? So I don't get into those type of conversations. However, I do want to just make one quick point. When we talk about women taking welfare over their men, I want to just get rid of a quick myth. Because there's the notion that that welfare removes men from the houses. No, the men left the home.
Oh, wait a minute. Repeat it one more time. Now, this is where we starting to agree. Repeat that one more time. Because, see, that's important, brother. Because when y'all say that.
The men left the home.
That's right. Because when y'all say that, that's taking.
Stand in the chat.
Yeah, and I got a transition, but
I'm sorry, let me finish.
Yeah.
They didn't want those social workers in their houses. They didn't want to live in those projects. Those men abdicated their responsibilities of protecting and providing for their families to the U.S. government.
Would you say that's fair, though?
I just really want to push back on the notion
that's
that
important.
Black women caused it.
And I don't want to make this a gender thing, but that's important because
I don't think it's fair.
Because nobody stopped my daddy from being a daddy. You want to be a daddy, you can be a daddy. But I got to transition.
I don't think black men woke up one day and said, "I'm leaving my house."
And I don't think black women woke up one day and said, "I want a welfare check and I'm putting you out."
I know that to be the truth.
And I know it to be true that black women didn't wake up one day and say,
I think there were a lot of genuine-hearted, good people who wanted to help Black Americans.
Yeah.
Right. And they extended policies. To us.
What's the number one reason for divorce? What's the number one reason for divorce?
But it turned out that the policy didn't work out well. That's what I'm saying.
Let's separate this part. What's the number one reason for divorce? What's the number one reason?
Finance.
Right. That's right.
Finance.
And then, so when we talk about people who are in poverty and having financial issues, and just to be clear, I'm my daddy and my mother's only child. Because this is also important because when people are talking about, that's why I like receipts. Because I want people to know I'm not coming from a place of hurt. I'm coming from a place of healing. Sure. So I'm my parents' only child. My grandparents on both sides, parental and maternal, both married 30 plus years, all their children in one home, and my great-grandmother and
I'm coming from the same background.
Yeah, so we 5 generations in. So I'm not coming from a place of hurt when I say this. But it is important that when we're making those talking points of saying Black women, because this is what we see online. You know, Black women just decided they wanted welfare. None of the women in my family want welfare.
I said that.
No, I'm saying that's what's out there. That's why even your Republican sister had to correct it. You may not have positioned it that way, but when it said they were incentivized, to not leave their men, those men had a responsibility as well. And so there were plenty. I know. I just want to put it out there to have the fair conversation. There are plenty of men. Matter of fact, more Black men are married to Black women than anybody. And there are plenty of good Black men that stayed in the house, and there are plenty of good Black women that kept those families together and just didn't take it for a check. So that's just important. We can come back and have this conversation, but I got to transition because they in my ear telling me to transition. Let's get to the elephant in the room with Donald Trump and this assassination attempt. Some folks are saying, do we have a package on that? I want to make sure. Let's watch this package quickly, and then we're going to come back. We can't hear it, Mo.
Oh, that's the convention.
Is dead. Disinformation and conspiracy theories about the attack are already swirling on social media.
Some people are saying that it's staged.
I mean, it's a little weird, that this is America and shooters don't miss unless they're hired to.
It was beautifully staged. I don't know, it was just too perfect. He just turned and nicked his ear, and then he might have had a little blood packet in his hand and just, the motherfuckers.
That shit was more staged than a Tyler Perry production of Madea Runs for President. This was, I believe, done to try to show his strength counter to Biden's fragility.
All right. Well, there you have it. Staged or real?
I don't know how people come to these illogical conclusions. You carried a firearm during your time in service, and you know how.
M16 law rocket, 9mm 3.8. I just want
you get it, sis.
Run them off.
You get it, sis. So you know how hard it is to put. Around. In the position to graze somebody by a centimeter.
Well, some of the
you know how difficult that is.
Just
to
so
do,
you know,
right?
they saying it ain't even a real person that shot. They said the person that died, they want to see the body. So they went deep in this water hole. They went real deep. They saying that it wasn't no shot. Was just a big stage conspiracy, so that he could get up and put his fist in the air.
Yeah. So where's the evidence? I mean, we got to point to the evidence of what we have.
What do you
we have a guy on the roof with a gun.
And I'm gonna ask you on
and we have snipers that said that they saw him. And I mean,
do you believe that Democrats? I'm gonna come around the room and ask you. Hold on, sis. I'm gonna come around the room and ask everybody.
I think so too.
I just want to ask you, do you think that because there's also another side of the coin that's saying that, because there's some Republicans online that are saying that the FBI set him up and Secret Service set him up. So do you think?
I think that's so I don't have enough information to say that. What I would say is, if that's the case, that's a tragedy in our country. Mm-hmm. That's what I would say. I would also second that with those are very strong accusations to make against a political opponent even though I don't support Democrat policy, I would never get out and say, as an American who wants the best for this country, I would never stand on that without the evidence.
Okay, well, Trump is getting ready to come to the stage here quickly. So before we go to that, just quickly, just yes or no, staged or real? Because he's coming to the stage. We want to make sure we get live.
It's not
Make a decision, baby. Staged or real?
I think it was real, but there's a lot of. I think you should question everything. I want to see what the doctor said afterwards. Was it a ricochet? Was it actually an actual bullet?
Yeah, because we haven't heard.
We ain't seen nothing. We haven't got enough information. I think you should question everything.
Okay.
There's a lot of smoke and mirrors.
Okay, quickly. P. Rae, staged or real?
Absolutely real. Who would fake getting almost shot in the head?
Okay.
I mean, to even think something
Ariana,
like that is so
real.
illogical.
I'm only rushing out because Trump is coming to the stage.
I'm gonna say it's real just for the fact that we all saw the blood after the math.
Well, they said it was ketchup.
I think everyone needs to take a closer look at who the shooter was, which is a registered Republican white man and not a Middle Eastern or anyone black.
For sure. Ooh, she told y'all this is real. In other words, she said it was one of y'all.
As we see it,
I've heard this before.
We have plenty of
white terrorism is the biggest threat to democracy in this country, and it's all MAGA-led. They incite violence even before he got shot.
Hold on, we're talking over each other. I'm sorry. I want to make sure.
Even right before he got shot, he was still inciting violence. He was making jokes about.
So what you're saying is white on white crime is a problem. So that's what I'm saying. So make sure.
But it's also
so white on white crime. Well, listen, before we talk about white on white crime, since we're gonna talk about Chicago.
Right, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. She was hit in the head. Yeah.
He literally made a joke right before that happened about her husband getting hit in the head with a hammer.
Yeah.
How's he doing?
Would you agree?
That's immaturity, bro.
So I want to go back.
Trump is petty though.
The idea that MAGA
should she have condemned that?
The idea that MAGA Republicans are promoting violence in this country, I think, is an absurd notion.
Come on, man.
I'll tell you. Let me finish.
Are
Let me stand on business.
Forget January 6th happened?
Let me finish.
You wanted to give him a party.
Can I finish, bro? Can I finish? Now, here's the deal. Here's the deal, right? When I look at all the civil uprisings,
let him make his point, because online they can't hear everybody when we're talking over each other. Everybody, so we got some good stuff. We want to make sure everybody hears it. So before Trump comes on stage, go ahead and make the case about how they're not violent. Even though white men been violent since the beginning of time.
The most violent group of people who demonstrate their violence, who get out and burn cities, burn buildings.
Here they go with the BML. Here they go.
Who set off the CNN Center here, or burned in Baltimore, burned in LA.
Them was white boys too, though.
The reality in the situation is.
Hold on, wait, pause.
Is the reality
it was white folks that was burning it down. It was a white woman that burned down Wendy's. No, let's not talk about the left. Let's talk about white supremacy.
The left.
But
white supremacy isn't holding you back. White supremacy is not holding you back. Values are holding you back. That's what's holding the community back.
I just want to put the facts down on who's burning down what.
I don't understand the infatuation with racism. The idea that MAGA Republicans are inciting violence, to me, is an absurd notion. And the idea that there was an insurrection. You're saying that the most armed group of Americans, matter of fact, the most armed group of people in the country.
That didn't happen.
Right? And the most armed group of people are Republicans, right? And they show up to the Capitol, and they show up to the Capitol unarmed, and you call it an insurrection. I think you have a passionate group of people.
What would you call it?
I think you had a passionate group of people who were concerned about tyranny. And I think it was incorrectly categorized.
Don't be so blind by your politics that allows you to be.
And that's true. So
Miss Easley, hold on, Miss Easley. The people in the comments, they can't hear. So we have to allow people one at a time.
I can't hear.
It was a party.
Last night. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about violence. Last night, 2 nights ago, 17 people were shot in Birmingham, Alabama. That didn't even hardly make the news. It made local news at best, right? That's our community.
Yeah, but see, wait a minute. Hold on, brother. No, wait a minute.
Hold on, let me finish.
No. Hold on, wait a minute. Stop.
Let me finish. The gun law you have nothing to do with it. The gun law doesn't have anything to do with it. The gun law doesn't have anything to do with it. The gun law has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Alabama, what's the gun law?
Has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Excuse me, reset.
Who's the governor of Alabama?
Reset. Because see, brother, this is where we run into the problem. When I said a moment ago that when you said BML, because that's your favorite talking point, the left burned it down. I said, yeah, that was white people too. And you said, I know you got an infatuation with race. It's not about race. It's about the Democrat Republican. But then you brought up, and I want to know, just so you fair, I said last week that, 21 people got shot in Detroit, in the inner city, 2 weeks ago. I'm all right with claiming when we do black on black crime. But the moment I said that it was a white girl that burned down Wendy's during BML, the moment I said that it was white folks that was doing that, black people wasn't out there burning down nothing.
Right.
Wait, hold on, let me finish. This is why the message keep going on people's head. When I said that it was white, you immediately went to white supremacy ain't holding you back. I never said it was holding me back because I'm up. Let me finish.
Who taught you
I
to hate
never
yourself?
said, wait a minute, because this is important. I never said it was holding me back because I'm up. I never said that. When I pointed out that it was white folks that's doing that on the right and the left, you immediately said, I understand your infatuation with race. But then you went right back to race when it went back down to black people, what black people doing in black community. We got to be fair about this.
He wanted to take it there, right?
I know, but when I wanted,
the accusation that's made against the right is made by the left.
But when I wanted to take, but when I wanted to take it there, hold on, wait a minute.
Wait. What's the gun laws there?
But when I wanted to take it there and point out that, because that's your favorite talking point, y'all the ones burning it down. First of all, white men been burning down this country.
No, it's not racial.
Ma'am, I'm talking a second, please.
What's the big mute?
White supremacy been burning down this world from the beginning. Rape, rob, pillage, did it all. Would you agree to that? There's only, I know it's in the rule book to not talk about white supremacy. But these are history. This is history. And that's all I'm saying.
Dismissing it.
And that's all I'm saying. I agree with you about values. I agree with about tightening up on that. I agree with the bootstraps. I agree with get out and get it. I agree with all of that. But we have to be fair in the conversation. You can't just beat down on black people and then when it's time to hold white people accountable, then it's about Democrat or Republican. That's all I'm saying.
In 2024, the reality is that we overrepresent in our community in terms of crime. And we have to deal with that. And that has absolutely nothing to do with gun law. Because the facts of the matter are, the states like Georgia that have open carry, right? Our crime rate is lower than that of those in, let's say, California or New York, right? Where you have all the regulation in the, where you have all the regulation in the world. The same applies to Maryland, New Jersey, et cetera.
You have to have a comparable size to make an argument.
You got to start looking
at compare Georgia to California and New York.
You got to start looking at the data.
How you compare Georgia to California and New York?
You have to start looking at the data. The data shows that restrictions on gun rights don't equate to, they do not equate to an immediate outcome as related to violent crime. Violent crime is an issue in our community that is a whole nother show.
So the answer,
would you agree?
What is the solution? We're waiting on a solution from your party, right?
Yeah.
So after your party incited the violence that led to Trump getting shot, they were giving away rifles at the RNC. They are giving that away a rifle right now. You're the party of guns.
So can I,
correct? You cannot disassociate from the NRA because they're your funders. You cannot disassociate from the NRA. You cannot say you want a ban on assault rifles because they are your donors. You can't. You're bought by the NRA. Let's be real.
I want to give the young sister a chance to respond.
Okay, go ahead. P. Ray.
We got to talk about the donors, baby. Where the money coming from? Where the money at?
P. Ray, we can't hear you.
We can't hear. We can't hear.
Let's follow the money.
These are the type of convictions that are not based on data.
I want to go back a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I want to go back a little bit because I've been trying to interject for a while. Number one, we know for a fact that the Democratic Party has always used violence to achieve their political means, starting with the Civil War. Okay, this is why they got, once Rutherford B. Hayes removed the troops from the South, people talk about this switch to the Democratic Party. That's because the Democrats literally terrorized us out of the political process completely, okay? So we're not going to sit here and make it seem like this is a racial issue when this is a cultural, political issue, and this is what the Democrats do.
We are black
Number one.
people.
Number two. No, we're not talking about the Civil War, right? I'm talking about culture, political culture. That's what I'm talking to. Excuse me, I didn't interrupt anybody.
Hold on.
I waited my turn.
Okay, go ahead. Wait, hold on, Ariana. Ariana's going to
control,
respond, but hold on. Finish your point, and then Ariana wants to respond. Go ahead, finish your point. And keep in mind, guys, we're all waiting on Trump to get to the stage, so I'll have to cut off in a second. But go ahead.
Yeah, they're actually rolling the tapes now. I'm watching, so he's about to come on any second.
Okay, go ahead. Finish your point.
Yeah, like I was saying, the Democratic Party is the party that brought us the Klan. Again, the Klan was a guerrilla warfare arm that used violence to achieve the political means of the Democratic Party at that time. Now the KKK walked so that Antifa could run. Antifa is engaging in the same behaviors that the Ku Klux Klan engaged in to achieve political means. We're looking at history. We're not talking about race. I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about party politics. Because the people here in Chicago, again, I'm talking about my city, my state that has the most black leadership anywhere in the country.
Okay.
Those people are black. It's not racial. It's political, cultural,
okay, hold on, sis. But we can't. Okay, hold on. We cannot keep. and again, this is where I'm just gonna have to keep resetting it. We cannot just say it's not about race, but then y'all keep talking about black people. If it's not about
what
race,
I'm talking about is not
hold
race.
on, sis.
So
But but now I'm
people.
responding. Now I'm responding. I heard you, and now I'm responding. And what I'm saying is, we can't keep saying it's not, anytime we talk about white folks, all these people you talked about in the Civil War and the Antifa and all, they all white folks. But then when I say white folks, it ain't about race. It's about Democrat and Republican. But black people, they over here doing this and that. Come on, y'all. If we're going to either talk about race or we're going to take it off the table. Let Ariana respond. I'm just telling you why the message is going over and why it's only 20 of y'all.
No, it's not. It's working very well in Chicago. It's not going over to anybody's head.
No, it's going over their
ours.
head. Ma'am, hold up 1 second. I get it. I know you got. I'm sorry. Let's just relax a second. We're going to get everybody in. I'm making my point that when you say something about, I would love to see, let me put this on the table. I would love to see more black conservatives take over the Republican Party. Just like the Hispanic community has 50-50 on each side. That's why they have the most leverage. I would love to see more conservatives, even though I don't agree, except with 2A and business and taxes. I'm all about on the conservative Republican, actually. So I would love to see more on your side. I actually would, which is why we created this, why you don't see this on no other network. So nobody's against nobody. We want to see black people move forward. I'm simply telling you from the other side, from the independent side, why the message goes over their head. That's all I'm saying. If we're going to talk about, you can't say, let's not talk about race, but what about these black people in Chicago? You can't, it just doesn't land. That's all I'm saying. Let Ariana they want Ariana to be, man, we're going to let Ariana make a statement. We're going to get to Daddy Trump in a second. Let Ariana make a quick statement, then we're going to go to Trump.
I just want to say, as you have mentioned, Tezlyn, they have both said multiple times that or mainly Pure has said multiple times that this isn't a race issue. We're all sitting here as black people. They chose us to be on this platform because we are black people. Everything is a race issue. This country has been set up as a race issue. People were taken, enslaved Africans were taken because they were black and seen as less than people because they were black. Everything in this country's foundation is a race issue. So sitting here and talking about race is one of the most important things that we probably could talk about because of intersectionality and how race is in everything that we do, say, speak. Everything that we have today is because of race.
Absolutely. And
so
I'm
to
all
say
right.
that it isn't is ignorant.
Yeah, well, it's not. Well, we got to go to Trump. Oh, well, okay, we got Kid Rock performing, so we got a little bit more. Let me let you get a spot. I just want us to just be able to be all right with talking about race. That's why we up here talking about race. We're going to talk about race tonight. So we're going to talk about all the bad stuff black people doing with black people. What about Chicago? Then let's make sure we talk about them white folks.
They can't jump in front of a bullet every time you say something about white people.
Ariana, were you done with your...
No, nobody's doing that. We're talking about race, we'll talk about race. When we're talking about politics, we'll talk about politics.
I would like to...
Hold on 1 second. No, we can talk about more than one thing. It's okay. We can talk about more than one thing at the same time. Ariana, were you done with your comment? Because I know I cut you off because I thought we were getting to Trump.
You're fine.
Did you make your point?
I was done.
Okay. Wait.
Previously, a couple times she's made the argument about the Civil War and the KKK. And that was about 150 years ago. What do those people lie currently? Where does that base, where's that base at right now? That is a MAGA base. They were just walking through Nashville with their little mask on. They took the sheets off. They put a little Pooh Shiesty mask on. And they walked through Nashville and they was telling them to reclaim America. They don't even like you being a part of their party. They don't even want you there. They just want your vote. So therefore, the hatred that you have towards black people is being incentivized by the MAGA because clearly you're showing an oppressive mindset, both of you all, systematic oppressively. to say that you hate yourself, because every time that you have a conflict or a word that's said about white people, you have to dodge that bullet.
Yeah. See, one of the challenges that a lot of black Americans...
you gotta love yourself.
One of the challenges that a lot of black Americans have is they're distracted with the issue of bigotry, when in fact, the worst thing for black Americans is a white liberal. That is more impactful. That is more impactful to you.
So does that mean the white conservative is better? I just want to know.
So bigotry is more important.
So is the white conservative better?
So let me finish.
I
want to finish my thought.
You all act like y'all scared of white people.
Girl, ain't nobody. Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. Ain't nobody scared of nobody. We a whole veteran up in here, ma'am. Let's just relax a second.
But y'all talking about
hold on. Just relax. Ain't nobody scared of no white folks, ma'am. Let's let our brother finish talking, because ain't nobody scared of no white folks. He just
This is
simply
the
asked
United
who he
States of
loved. I just
America.
simply want to know, ma'am, hold up a second. Ma'am, hold up. And I welcome you to come to the studio one-on-one. But it is challenging to hear these different, people different. That's all. Just relax. Ain't nobody scared of no white folks. Girl, I done signed up to give my life. So let's be clear. Ain't nobody scared of nobody. But I do want to just ask that question. I appreciate you being here, by the way. I do just want to ask that. When you say the worst thing that's happened is a liberal Democrat, I just want to know, does that mean that the conservative white is a savior?
That's not what I'm saying.
I know.
I'm trying to finish.
I'm gonna let you finish. I just want to know that one part.
Articulate the point.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, irregardless of what side they lay on, right? Because I don't have the evidence, nor do you. The reality is that bigotry is powerless. At the end of the day, what's happening in the middle of East Tennessee in some town with 200 people or whatever is less impactful to me than divisive policy concentrated in the cities in which millions of us live. That is a bigger issue in our community, and I think Malcolm X would agree with that. I think he was saying he was saying that for years. But we're distracted, unfortunately. I'm not saying that I agree with bigotry or any of that, but I am saying that this is the United States of America, and white Americans have the ability and the right to believe what they want, like you have the right to believe what you want. The reality in this situation, though, is what we don't have the authority, or the right to do is to impose our will on others.
But that's their message.
I want to finish. And so what I'm saying, right, is imposing things on the community that the community isn't about today, really, and wasn't about 60, 100 years ago, right, that are divisive. That history, and this is just a blunt reality, the blunt reality is that history lies in the Democrat Party.
And all I'm saying,
and when I ask Democrats to point very specifically, I'm not asking you to talk around the wheel. I'm asking you to point at the policy that changed you or your father or your brother's life in a negative manner, that impacted your social outcome. Social and economic outcome.
Yeah, I just want to say this.
Instituted by the Republican Party.
Because
my issue is that Democrats can't find that policy.
No, well, that's not true. But Trump is getting ready to say, I just want to say this since we brought up Malcolm X, my hero. I just want to bring it up on Ballot of the Bullet in 1965. I can't hear both. I can't hear both. I'm hearing you. I'm sorry. I can't hear both. I just want to say this.
Yes, ma'am.
Malcolm X did say that the worst thing was a Dixiecrat. He did. He was very clear in Ballot of the Bullet. But he also said he also was a black nationalist and wasn't saying that the answer was a white conservative too. That's all I'm saying. If there can be more balance in that conversation, I just think more people would like to hear what you have to say. I want to tease this quickly because they're in my ear and I'm trying to hear y'all and everybody else at the same time. Shout out to me for being the hostess, listening to 6 different voices, by the way. Round of applause for me. We are going to talk about Project 2025. I need to get that out. We're going to get to that. We're going to definitely get to Project 2025 after Trump goes up. But I just wanted to point that out. If we're going to bring up Malcolm X, let's just bring up everything he said, which was also, wasn't no white daddy coming to save us too. And that's the only thing that people are hearing. That may not be.
And as a black Republican, I'm not telling you that a white daddy's coming to save you.
And I don't believe that you're saying that.
And I'm not telling you should vote because a white person is going to do anything for you.
I don't believe you're saying that.
What I'm saying is that as a black Republican, what I'm saying is that I want to vote for a party that's not going to stand between me and my pursuit of happiness. I quite frankly just need the government to get out of my way. Leave it up to me, and I'll be successful.
We on the same page.
That's what I'm going.
I
don't want the handout. I don't want the handout because I know that the handout got a negative intent.
And all I just want is that Republicans also don't want you in power as well. That's why they don't let y'all run nothing in the party. I see them as the same, two wings of the same bird. One's worse than the other. That's all I'm saying. I want to see more black Republicans. As soon as y'all get them over there, let me know. I'll come holler at you. I'm just telling you why the message is not landing, because every time it's talked about race, the only time that some talk about race is about what black people ain't doing and what black people not achieving. And that's why the message ain't landing. And that's why it's about 100 at best people in the audience.
Landing. That's my
No, it's only landing with a few individuals. It's not landing.
It is landing. Yeah,
Are you saying that the Republican Party is the one that's unifying America?
Actually, it's not.
That's what I want to hear. I'm pushing that message and people.
Well, you're the only one, sweetheart, but it's not a lot. Pan the camera around and let's see.
Y'all got to do what I do. We speak to the
No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be found with black people like, oh, baby, first, I know you don't want to. Hold on now. Wait a minute. Do what who do? Girl, because I'm an organizer. Hold on. Let's relax.
They come to us and do what we ask them to do.
Hold on.
But we have to stop telling people that the white boogeyman is coming to get them, that this country hates them.
Let's relax and tone it down. Sis, hold on, sis. Sis, hold on, because I don't know who the we is you talking about, because I talk to both sides and been doing it for 15, 20 years straight with the receipts to do. That's why you're here, ma'am, because I believe in talking to other sides. So let's be careful on what we need to be and let's not do that, because we're doing that.
Sure.
We're literally doing that right now. We're literally having the conversation right now.
No, I'm speaking to the point where you said that I know not you, sweetheart.
Yeah.
I'm saying that us as a media, as the Republican Party, and I said this,
Yes.
when we come talk to Black people, it's usually a deficit conversation. However, what we found in Chicago is that rather than talking to the deficit, you talk about the blessing. Instead of generational cursing, we talk about generational blessings. We talk about the fact that, again, we are American as sweet potato pie, and this is our country. If you talk to the people like that, the message lands perfectly.
I agree with that.
We are 100% American.
I agree with that. But what I'm trying, but that wasn't the point. Hold on, but that wasn't the point that I was making. I agree with that. I agree with talking about the blessing over the curse. I believe in all of that. What I'm saying, what's not landing on why it's only 50 of y'all at best right now in the audience is when we start getting into the conversation about race.
Sorry.
And I'm just saying, when we start getting into the conversation about, ma'am, don't take it off mute again. Ma'am, don't take it off mute again. Ma'am, don't take it off mute again. I'm going to finish my statement. Sweetness, honey bunch, and love. I'm going to finish my statement, darling. What I'm saying is, when it gets to the conversation on race, when we're saying it's not about black, it's not about white folks, not about white folks, let's talk about Black people doing. That's where the message doesn't land. Right. The message lands when it's our country. The message lands. I'm a whole veteran, baby girl. I know this is our country. I know we built this. I know this is ours. I know that every opportunity is at my disposal. My mama wasn't on no welfare, and neither was her mama and the mama before that, and I wasn't. I'm an entrepreneur, U.S. Department of Commerce Entrepreneur of the Year, to be exact. So nobody's confused about that. What I'm saying is, when the message gets lost, when it's time to hold white folks accountable for what they do, and it's all about Black people being held accountable and not recognizing that, yes, the people in Antifa, those was white boys that was burning that down. On both sides. That's all we're saying. If that message could get just a little bit broader and just have a little bit more fairness in the conversation, I think more people will want to hear what you have to say. And I want them to, because the moment we get more Republicans, the moment we split this up, the moment we have more independents, now we got real leverage. Because that's exactly what the Latino community has done, the Hispanic community, which, by the way, Joe Biden said he don't want to hear nothing Black people got to say. He said, go follow the Hispanic community. So I'm with you on that. I'm with that we need more leverage. I want more people to come over to your side. I won't be going first, because I'm gonna go when I see a few more of y'all. I'm uncomfortable being just 20 people at best, and ain't nobody looking like me in the audience. But y'all go ahead and do the damn thing. And as soon as y'all get more people, I'm more than happy to hear what you have to say. That's all I'm saying, brother. It only want to be about race when it's about our
I would invite you to come out to the
deficit.
events like we had here in Atlanta at the Juneteenth event. I don't know. Did you get it? You're a community activist, right? For sure. You had a chance to come to our Juneteenth event?
No.
The Democrats were there too. Oh, you didn't come? Okay.
No, not to that one. I did my own, actually.
That was a little bit of shame.
I was just asking.
Okay, it was a little bit of shame. We can recognize
I mean,
the shame.
I actually throw an event called the Juneteenth Culture Ball. I started that
But it was a
year.
little shame.
I was actually the first person doing an event around Juneteenth in Atlanta.
I could get the greatest access to the greatest number of people.
But I was the first one doing Juneteenth events. Juneteenth is tatted on my wrist.
Had a Juneteenth.
Literally, I have my own Juneteenth logo.
It was a little bit of shame.
I have my own Juneteenth logo.
No, but it's okay. Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, because this is a great moment. Can we lean
I have my own Juneteenth logo.
Because he got a whole Juneteenth logo.
Because I throw the Juneteenth Culture Ball.
Oops.
I've been did that. I'm glad y'all start to celebrate Black people. Thank you.
Oops, he told you.
Because y'all don't unify the
y'all
country.
Make sure y'all tag
because it's pro-white.
He's just talking.
Oh, now I'm talking.
He do got the tattoo, though. Come on, brother. He got the tattoo.
You went there.
But
you went there. You went there. I was at the Black is Revive cookout.
Where is the Democrat record of successful
I was at the Black is Revive cookout. Where you was at?
You had 60 years in every country in America.
With your gold shoe.
I mean, every city in America.
Where was you at with your gold shoe?
You had every single year.
You mean to tell me you had a Republican
You had every year to produce an outcome, and you didn't produce any outcome.
You had a Juneteenth event.
You didn't produce no outcome.
How many Black people was there?
You didn't produce
How many Black people was at your Juneteenth event?
Pause for the cause. Pause for the cause.
How many people was there?
And you failed.
How many people was there?
Okay.
How many people was there?
Countdown. We're going to Trump.
How many people was there?
That was a great. Y'all tagging.
You had the same amount of people at the convention at your Juneteenth event.
Hold on. Wait, guys. Wait, guys. Project 2025. We're going to talk about that after Donald J. Trump takes the stage, former president. We're going to be watching it. Make sure you tag. Look at it. She loving Donald Trump on the stage. Make sure.
That's it.
Make sure you invite somebody to the comments.
24.
Everybody in the
Republicans on Juneteenth.
We're going to address reparations. We're going to address Project 2025. Folks in the comments, relax. It's a heated moment. Yes, there's going to be some talk over. Yes, there's going to be that. But round of applause for everybody for being here to be able to have the conversation conversation.
For sure.
Because
Round of
no other
applause.
network. Round of applause.
Round of
please.
applause.
So
Round of
just
applause,
relax
bro.
in the comments, guys, and support us because you ain't seen this nowhere and you never will. You are watching The Culture Speaks, even when it's a few talkovers. We could
disagree.
Shout out to us for being able to have that because no other network is doing it. She got a hat on and everything, just trumping and getting it all together. But this is a great panel. Hey, y'all, one thing conservatives do is they know how to keep them comments. Hey, I need the comment caucus on the left.
That's why y'all
get
brought
busy.
us in.
Oh, yeah, y'all the best at
Controversy sells.
Yeah, they the best on YouTube. They got to
brought
make
us
it seem, yeah, they got to make it seem bigger than what they are. But it's okay. Y'all the best at it. They troll
I'm
me all
just
the time.
confused.
But this is
Ooh.
a great conversation,
You got
guys.
any pictures of that Juneteenth event?
Donald, but he did have a June. He did have.
I mean, this is some 5 years
Let's
ago.
just admit that before we go to Donald Trump.
Juneteenth is a Republican holiday.
No, hold on, wait, because
Jesus.
you did throw
But it's for a Democratic
It doesn't mean
holiday.
anything by it. I just want to put the shade on the record.
What is the
Nothing.
shade?
I just want to put the shade on the record because
Well,
I
he
like
threw the
it.
shade out there. I just stood under the tree.
I'm just saying we had 2 events. I ain't see
I know,
you at none
but
of
all
them.
I'm saying is he
But you
do
said
got-
you in the community.
I know.
And Big said don't see you in the community down on Techwood.
Uh-oh.
I'm just
But hold on.
calling it like it is.
What Donald?
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit to Houston and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say. There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who made that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Wow. And thank you, Dana. Thank you, Kid Rock, sometimes referred to as Bob. And thank you, Lee, right from the beginning. Thank you very much. What a talent. What a beautiful, beautiful song. Thank you. Friends, delegates, and fellow citizens, I stand before you this evening with a message of confidence, strength, and hope. 4 months from now, we will have an incredible victory, and we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. Together, we will launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. The discord and division in our society must be healed. We must heal it quickly. As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. We rise together or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America, because there is no victory in winning for half of America. So tonight, with faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we will do it right. Gonna do it right. Let me begin this evening by expressing my gratitude to the American people for your outpouring of love and support following the assassination attempt at my rally on Saturday. As you already know, the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. And therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened, and you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. It was a warm, beautiful day in the early evening in Butler Township in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Music was loudly playing, and the campaign was doing really well. I went to the stage, and the crowd was cheering wildly. Everybody was happy. I began speaking very strongly, powerfully, and happily because I was discussing the great job my administration did on immigration at the southern border. We were very proud of it. Behind me and to the right was a large screen that was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do, when I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right ear. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. And moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage. These are great people at great risk, I will tell you, and pounced on top of me so that I would be protected. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side. I felt that. The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant, the assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would not be here tonight. We would not be together. The most incredible aspect of what took place on that terrible evening in the fading sun was actually seen later. In almost all cases, as you probably know, and when even a single bullet is fired, just a single bullet, and we had many bullets that were being fired, crowds run for the exits or stampede, but not in this case. It's very unusual. This massive crowd of tens of thousands of people stood by and didn't move an inch. In fact, many of them bravely, but automatically stood up looking for where the sniper would be. They knew immediately it was a sniper. And then began pointing at him. You can see that if you look at the group behind me. That was just a small group compared to what was in front. Nobody ran, and by not stampeding, many lives were saved. But that isn't the reason that they didn't move. The reason is that they knew I was in very serious trouble. They saw it. They saw me go down. They saw the blood and thought, actually most did, that I was dead. They knew it was a shot to the head. They saw the blood. And there's an interesting statistic. The ears are the bloodiest part. If something happens with the ears, they bleed more than any other part of the body. For whatever reason, the doctors told me that. I said, why is there so much blood? He said, it's the ears. They bleed more. So we learned something, but they just, this beautiful crowd, they didn't want to leave me. They knew I was in trouble. They didn't want to leave me. And you can see that love written all over their faces. Incredible people. They're incredible people. Bullets were flying over us, yet I felt serene. But now the Secret Service agents were putting themselves in peril. They were in very dangerous territory. Bullets were flying right over them, missing them by a very small amount of inches. And then it all stopped. Our Secret Service sniper, from a much greater distance and with only one bullet used, took the assassin's life, took him out. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here. No. Thank you. But I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God. In watching the reports over the last few days, many people say it was a providential moment. Probably was. When I rose, surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead, and there was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking out. They thought it was over. But I could see it, and I wanted to do something to let them know I was okay. I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting, and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight." Thank you. Once my clenched fist went up, and it was high into the air. You've all seen that. The crowd realized I was okay and roared with pride for our country like no crowd I have ever heard before. Never heard anything like it. For the rest of my life, I will be grateful for the love shown by that giant audience of patriots that stood bravely on that fateful evening in Pennsylvania. Tragically, the shooter claimed the life of one of our fellow Americans, Corey, comparator, unbelievable person, everybody tells me. Unbelievable. And seriously wounded. 2 other great warriors, spoke to them today, David Dutch and James Copenhaver, 2 great people. I also spoke to all 3 families of these tremendous people. Our love and prayers are with them and always will be. We're never going to forget them. They came for a great rally. They were serious Trumpsters, I want to tell you. They were serious Trumpsters and still are. But Corey, unfortunately, we have to use the past tense. He was incredible. He was a highly respected former fire chief, respected by everybody. Was accompanied by his wife, Helen, incredible woman. I spoke to her today, devastated, and 2 precious daughters. He lost his life selflessly acting as a human shield to protect them from flying bullets. He went right over the top of them and was hit. What a fine man he was. I want to thank the fire department and the family for sending his helmet, his outfit, and it was just something, and they're going to do something very special when they get it. But we did something which cannot match what happened, not even close. But I am very proud to say that over the past few days, we've raised $6.3 million for the families of David, James, and Corey, including from a friend of mine just called up. He sent me a check right here. I just got it. $1 million from Dan Newland. Thank you, Dan. And again, when speaking to the family, I told them, I said, well, I'm going to be sending you a lot of money, but it can't compensate. They all said the same thing. You're right, sir. We appreciate so much what you're doing, but nothing can take the place in the case of Corey. And the other 2, by the way, they were very, very seriously injured, but now they're doing very well. They're going to be okay. They're going to be doing very well. They're warriors. So now I ask that we observe a moment of silence in honor of our friend Corey. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for others. This is the spirit that forged America in her darkest hours, and this is the love that will lead America back to the summit of human achievement and greatness. This is what we need. Despite such a heinous attack, we unite this evening more determined than ever. I am more determined than ever, and so are you. So is everybody in this room. Thank you. Thank you very much. Our resolve is unbroken and our purpose is unchanged to deliver a government that serves the American people better than ever before. Nothing will stop me in this mission because our vision is righteous and our cause is pure. No matter what obstacle comes our way, we will not break, we will not bend, we will not back down, and I will never stop fighting for you, your family, and our magnificent country. Never. And everything I have to give with all of the energy and fight in my heart and soul, I pledge to our nation tonight. Thank you very much. I pledge that to our nation. We're going to turn our nation around, and we're going to do it very quickly. Thank you. This election should be about the issues facing our country and how to make America successful, safe, free, and great again. In an age when our politics too often divide us, now is the time to remember that we are all fellow citizens. We are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we must not criminalize dissent or demonize political disagreement, which is what's been happening in our country lately at a level that nobody has ever seen before. In that spirit, the Democrat Party should immediately stop weaponizing the justice system and labeling their political opponent as an enemy of democracy. Especially since that is not true. In fact, I am the one saving democracy for the people of our country. And very big news, as you probably just read, on Monday a major ruling was handed down from a highly respected federal judge in Florida, Eileen Cannon, finding that the prosecutor and the fake documents case against me were totally unconstitutional, and the entire case was thrown out of court. With all of that publicity, thrown out of court. If Democrats want to unify our country, they should drop these partisan witch hunts, which I have been going through for approximately 8 years. And they should do that without delay and allow an election to proceed that is worthy of our people. We're going to win it anyway, but worthy of our people. On this journey, I am deeply honored to be joined by my amazing wife, Melania. And Melania, thank you very much. You also did something really beautiful, a letter to America calling for national unity, and it really took the Republican Party by surprise. I will tell you, it was beautiful. In fact, some very serious people said that we should take that letter and put it as part of the Republican platform. That would be an honor, wouldn't it? Right, Mr. Congressman? But it captivated so many, so I also want to thank my entire family for being here. Don, Kimberly, Ivanka and Jared, Eric and Lara, Tiffany and Michael, Barron. We love our Barron. And of course, my 10 wonderful grandchildren. You saw a few of them up there on my lap before. And how good was Dana? Was Dana good? I mean, was he good? He was on probably the only vacation he's had in about, maybe ever, because he works, but about 10 years with his wife, very far away. I won't tell you where, but very, very far away, beautiful place. And my people called, and he said, I won't be able to do it. This is many, many years. I promised my wife I can't do it. And they came in, they said, Dana won't be able to do it, because he was my first, second, and third choice. I said, well, that's too bad, but I understand he's away, and it's good. It's good for him. And that was it. About 30 minutes later, she came back in, sir, Dana just called, he's going to do it. And his wife, she said, you can't turn him down, you just can't do it, you have to go. That's a good wife. So he got on a plane, he got here a little while ago, now he's going to get on the plane in a little while, and he's going to go back home to his wife. But they're great, and I just want to thank her and him and their whole family, because that's not easy. And Kid Rock, same thing. Called, he said, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part, because, Kid does his great song, big, big monster song. I had no idea. He became a friend of mine over the last 10 years. And he's amazing. Everyone loves him. I didn't even know how big he was. He has rallies, 35, 40,000 people he gets every time he goes out. I think he's making so much money, he doesn't know what the hell to do with it. You want to know? And then we have my other friend, and I've known him so long, and we took that song, and it was a big success, but we made that. I saw a chart of great songs to America. That was #1 on the chart recently, #1. So that's Lee Greenwood, a very special, beautiful person. He's a beautiful man. But they all wanted to be here. They called. And how about the Hulkster? How good was he? Is he up? Where is he? Boy, oh boy. They may call that entertainment. I know about entertainment, but when he used to lift a 350-pound man over his shoulders and then bench press him 2 rows into the audience, I say maybe entertainment, but he is one strong son of a gun. I will tell you, I watched it many times. There aren't a lot of entertainers that can do that, right? You were fantastic. Thank you very much. Followed by Eric. What was that all about? Boy, that was good. I didn't want to really come up here. But he was so great, and he's such a good young man. He went through a lot of trouble, and Don last night was incredible. They went through so much trouble. They got subpoenaed more than any people probably in the history of the United States. Every week they get another subpoena from the Democrats, crazy Nancy Pelosi, the whole thing, just boom, boom, boom. They've got to stop that because they're destroying our country. We have to work on making America great again, not on beating people. And we won. We beat them and all. We beat them on the impeachments. We beat them on indictments. We beat them. But the time that you have to spend, if they would devote that genius to helping our country, we'd have a much stronger and better country. And Jason, the biggest star in country music. Jason, thank you for being here. Jason, thank you very much. Jason Aldean, he's good. I like his wife even better, by the way. She's here. Thank you, Jason. But I'm thrilled to have a new friend and partner fighting by my side, the next Vice President of the United States, the current Senator from Ohio, J.D. Vance, and his incredible wife, Usha. He's going to be a great Vice President. He's going to be great. He'll be with this country and with this movement, greatest movement in the history of our country, Make America Great Again. When they criticized it, they said, we're going to try and stop MAGA. I said, MAGA is Make America Great Again. What are you going to stop? There's nothing to stop. Then they say, oh, that's right. It's very tough to fight it. And all of the people that did try and fight it have failed. But he's going to be with us for a long time, and it was an honor to select him. Great, great student at Yale. His wife was a great student at Yale. They met at Yale. These are two smart people. So, J.D., you're going to be doing this for a long time. Enjoy the ride. And a very special thank you to the extraordinary people of Milwaukee and the great state of, oh, there they are. There they are. You are so easy to spot. And Green Bay's going to have a good team this year, right? They're going to have a good team. They're going to have a good team. Most of the audience doesn't like it, but it's true. You're going to have a very good team this year. And by the way, Wisconsin, we are spending over $250 million here creating jobs and other economic development all over the place. So I hope you will remember this in November and give us your vote. I am trying to buy your vote. I'll be honest about that. And I promise we will make Wisconsin great again. We're going to make it. Thank you, Mr. Governor. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm here tonight to lay out a vision for the whole nation, to every citizen, whether you're a young or old man or woman, Democrat, Republican, or independent, black or white, Asian or Hispanic. I extend to you a hand of loyalty and of friendship. Together we will lead America to new heights of greatness like the world has never seen before. We were right there in the first term. We got hit with COVID. We did a great job. Nobody knew what it was, but nobody's ever seen an economy pre-COVID. And then we handed over a stock market that was substantially higher than just prior to COVID. Coming in, did a great job. Never got credit for that. We got credit for the war and defeating ISIS and so many things, the great economy, the biggest tax cuts ever, the biggest regulation cuts ever, the creation of Space Force, the rebuilding of our military. We did so much. We did so much. Right to try. Right to try is a big deal. We got right to try. They were trying to get that for 52 years. Somebody's terminally ill. And hopefully there's nobody in this audience, but it does happen a lot. They're terminally ill and they can't use our new space-age drugs and other things that we are way ahead. We have the greatest doctors in the world, the greatest laboratories in the world, and you can't do it. They've been trying to get that approved for 52 years. Wasn't that easy? The insurance companies didn't want to do it. They didn't want the risk. The labs didn't want to do it because if it didn't work, people are pretty far down the line toward death. They didn't want to do it. The doctors didn't want to have it on their records, so I got everybody into an office. 52 years they tried. Sounds simple, but it's not. And I got them to agree that somebody that needs it will, instead of going to Asia, Europe, or someplace, or if you have no money going home and dying, just die. We got them to sign an agreement, agree to it, where they're not going to sue anybody. They're going to get all of this stuff. They're going to get it really fast. And what's happened is we're saving thousands and thousands of lives. It's incredible. Right to try. It's a great feeling. Under our leadership, the United States will be respected again. No nation will question our power. No enemy will doubt our might. Our borders will be totally secure. Our economy will soar. We will return law and order to our streets, patriotism to our schools, and importantly, we will restore peace, stability, and harmony all throughout the world. But to achieve this future, we must first rescue our nation from failed and even incompetent leadership. We have totally incompetent leadership. This will be the most important election in the history of our country. Under the current administration, we are indeed a nation in decline. We have an inflation crisis that is making life unaffordable, ravaging the incomes of working and low-income families, and crushing, just simply crushing our people like never before. They've never seen anything like it. We also have an illegal immigration crisis, and it's taking place right now as we sit here in this beautiful arena. It's a massive invasion at our southern border that has spread misery, crime, poverty, disease, and destruction to communities all across our land. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Then there's an international crisis, the likes of which the world has seldom been part of. Nobody can believe what's happening. War is now raging in Europe and the Middle East. A growing specter of conflict hangs over Taiwan, Korea, the Philippines, and all of Asia. And our planet is teetering on the edge of World War III. And this will be a war like no other war because of weaponry. The weapons are no longer army tanks going back and forth shooting at each other. These weapons are obliteration. It's time for a change. This administration can't come close to solving the problems. We're dealing with very tough, very fierce people. They're fierce people. And we don't have fierce people. We have people that are a lot less than fierce, except when it comes to cheating on elections and a couple of other things. Then they're fierce. Then they're fierce. So tonight, I make this pledge to the great people of America. I will end the devastating inflation crisis immediately, bring down interest rates, and lower the cost of energy. We will drill, baby, drill. Can you believe what they're doing? But by doing that, we will lead a large-scale decline in prices. Prices will start to come down. Energy raised it. They took our energy policies and destroyed them. Then they immediately went back to them, but by that time, so much was lost. But we will do it at levels that nobody's ever seen before, and we'll end lots of different things. We'll start paying off debt and start lowering taxes even further. We gave you the largest tax cut. We'll do it more. You know, people don't realize I brought taxes way down, way down, and yet we took in more revenues the following year than we did when the tax rate was much higher. Most people said, how did you do that? Because it was incentive. Everybody was coming to the country. They were bringing back billions and billions of dollars into our country. The companies made it impossible to bring it back. The tax rate was too high, and the legal complications were far too great. I changed both of them, and hundreds of billions of dollars by Apple and so many other companies were brought back into our nation, and we had an economy the likes of which no nation had ever seen. China, we were beating them at levels that were incredible. And they know it. They know it. We'll do it again, but we'll do it even better. I will end the illegal immigration crisis by closing our border and finishing the wall, most of which I've already built. On the wall, we were dealing with a very difficult Congress. And I said, oh, that's okay. We won't go to Congress. I call it an invasion. We gave our military almost $800 billion, I said, I'm going to take a little of that money because this is an invasion, and we built, most of the wall is already built, and we built it through using the funds because what's better than that? We have to stop the invasion into our country that's killing hundreds of thousands of people a year. We're not going to let that happen. I will end every single international crisis that the current administration has created, including the horrible war with Russia and Ukraine, which would have never happened if I was president, and the war caused by the attack on Israel, which would have never happened if I was president. Iran was broke. Iran had no money. Now Iran has $250 billion. They made it all over the last 2.5 years. They were broke. I watched the other day on a show called Deface the Nation. Has anyone seen it? And they had a congressman who was a Democrat say, well, whether you like him or not, Iran was broke dealing with Trump. I told China and other countries, if you buy from Iran, we will not let you do any business in this country, and we will put tariffs on every product you do send in of 100% or more. And they said to me, well, I think that's about it. They weren't going to buy any oil. And they were ready to make a deal. Iran was going to make a deal with us. And then we had that horrible, horrible result that we'll never let happen again. The election result, we're never going to let that happen again. They used COVID to cheat. We're never going to let it happen again. And they took off all the sanctions, and they did everything possible for Iran. And now Iran is very close to having a nuclear weapon, which would have never happened. This is a shame what this administration, the damage that this administration has done. And I say it often, if you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States, think of it, the 10 worst, added them up, they will not have done the damage that Biden has done. I'm only going to use the term once. Biden. I'm not going to use the name anymore, just one time. The damage that he's done to this country is unthinkable. It's unthinkable. Together we will restore vision, strength, competence, and we're going to have a thing called common sense making most of our decisions, actually. It's all common sense. Just a few short years ago, under my presidency, we had the most secure border and best economy in the history of our country, in the history of the world. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had never done anything like it. We were beating every country, including China, by leaps and bounds. Nobody had seen anything like it. We had no inflation. Soaring incomes were going. Nobody can believe it. You can't believe what happened 4 years ago is happening now in reverse. And the world was at peace. Inflation has been a killer for our country. No matter what you make it doesn't matter because inflation is eating you alive. People that were putting away money, they were making great wages, the highest they've ever made, but they were putting away a lot of money. Now they are just being destroyed. They're not putting away anything. They're barely living. They're going into savings accounts. They're taking out their money to live because of inflation. Inflation, remember, it's called a country buster. You can go back to Germany from 100 years ago. You can go back to any country that suffered great inflation. We've suffered the worst inflation we've ever had. But go back and see what's happened to those countries. We've had the worst inflation we've ever had under this person. But in less than 4 years, our opponents have turned incredible success into unparalleled tragedy and failure. It's been a tremendous failure. Today, our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken. And by the way, you know who's taking the jobs that are created? 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens. And you know who's being hurt the most by millions of people pouring into our country? The black population and the Hispanic population, because they're taking the jobs from our black population, our Hispanic population, and they're also taking them from unions. The unions are suffering because of it. Thank you. Thank you. I like you too. Thank you very much. Inflation has wiped out the life savings of our citizens and forced the middle class into a state of depression and despair. That's what it is. It's despair and depression. We cannot and will not let this continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. We're going to be a great nation again. Thank you. With proper leadership, every disaster we are now enduring will be fixed, and it will be fixed very, very quickly. So tonight, whether you've supported me in the past or not, I hope you will support me in the future, because I will bring back the American dream. That's what we're going to do. You don't even hear about the American dream anymore. With great humility, I am asking you to be excited about the future of our country. Be excited. Be excited. And by the way, the news reports, look at all of those big networks. Look at them. They're all here. But every one of them has said this could be the most organized, best run, and most enthusiastic convention of either party that they've ever seen. Every single one. And it's true. It's true. And there's love in the room. There's great love in the room. So I better finish strong. Otherwise, we'll blow it, and we can't let that happen. Now, this was great. All of the great people that spoke, and everybody hit a home run. I mean, there's not one that I can think of where I said, oh, gee, that wasn't great. Every single person. I refuse to be the only one. Don't do that to me. They're already getting ready. See, I gave them an idea. Now, this was a great convention. This was, I think we're actually going to go home and miss it. You know, usually with a first of all, look at these crowds. You'd never have this at a convention. Look at these crowds. Love. It's about love. This week, the entire Republican Party has formally adopted an agenda for America's renewal, and you saw that agenda. And it's very short compared to the long, boring, meaningless agendas of the past, including the Democrats. They write these things that are hundreds of pages long, and they never read them after they're done. In their case, fortunately, they don't read them because they're pretty bad. It's a series of bold promises that we will swiftly implement when you give us a Republican House. And Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. We have our great Speaker of the House with us tonight, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. Thank you. A Republican Senate, we have many senators here. And send me back to our beautiful White House just a few short months from now. We're talking about just months. It can't come fast enough. We have to get it done. First, we must get economic relief to our citizens. Starting on day one, we will drive down prices and make America affordable again. We have to make it affordable. It's not affordable. People can't live like this. Under this administration, our current administration, groceries are up 57%, gasoline is up 60% and 70%, mortgage rates have quadrupled. And the fact is, it doesn't matter what they are because you can't get the money anyway. You can't buy houses. Young people can't get any financing to buy a house. The total household costs have increased an average of $28,000 per family under this administration. Republicans have a plan to bring down prices and bring them down very, very rapidly. By slashing energy costs, we will in turn reduce the cost of transportation, manufacturing, and all household goods. So much starts with energy. And remember, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country by far. We are a nation that has the opportunity to make an absolute fortune with its energy. We have it, and China doesn't. Under the Trump administration, just 3.5 years ago, we were energy independent, but soon we will actually be better than that. We will be energy dominant and supply not only ourselves, but we will supply the rest of the world with numbers that nobody has ever seen, and we will reduce our debt, $36 trillion. We will start reducing that, and we will also reduce your taxes still further. Next, and by the way, they want to raise your taxes 4 times, think of it. And all my life I grew up watching politicians. I always loved politics, I guess. I was on the other side. I'd watch and they were always talking about, we will give you a tax cut. We will give you a tax cut. My whole life I was watching, I will give you a tax cut, right, Mr. Congressman? That's all they talked about. This is the only administration that said, we're going to raise your taxes by 4 times what you're paying now, and people are supposed to vote for them? I've never heard it. You're paying too much. We're going to reduce your taxes still further. We gave you the biggest one, as I said. We're going to give you more, and it's going to lead to tremendous growth. We want growth in our country. That's what's going to pay off our debt. And next, we will end the ridiculous and actually incredible waste of taxpayer dollars that is fueling the inflation crisis. They've spent trillions of dollars on things having to do with the Green New Scam. It's a scam. And that's caused tremendous inflationary pressures in addition to the cost of energy. And all of the trillions of dollars that are sitting there not yet spent, we will redirect that money for important projects like roads, bridges, dams, and we will not allow it to be spent on meaningless Green New Scam ideas. And I will end the electric vehicle mandate on day 1. Thereby saving the U.S. auto industry from complete obliteration, which is happening right now, and saving U.S. customers thousands and thousands of dollars per car. And right now, as we speak, large factories just started are being built across the border in Mexico. So with all the other things happening on our border, and they're being built by China to make cars and to sell them into our country. No tax, no anything. The United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed for allowing this to happen. And the leader of the United Auto Workers should be fired immediately. And every single auto worker, union and non-union, should be voting for Donald Trump, because we're going to bring back car manufacturing, and we're going to bring it back fast. They're building some of the largest auto plants anywhere in the world. Think of it, in the world. We're going to bring it back. We're going to make them. We don't mind that happening, but those plants are going to be built in the United States, and our people are going to man those plants. And if they don't agree with us, we'll put a tariff of approximately 100 to 200% on each car, and they will be unsellable in the United States. We have long been taken advantage of by other countries. And think of it, oftentimes these other countries are considered so-called allies. They've taken advantage of us for years. We lose jobs, we lose revenue, and they gain everything and wipe out our businesses, wipe out our people. I stopped it for 4 years. I stopped it. And we're really ready to make changes like nobody had seen before. And remember, USMCA, I got rid of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with USMCA, which is, they say, the best trade deal ever made. Actually, probably the best trade deal was the deal I made with China, where they buy $50 billion worth of our product. They were buying nothing. They buy $50 billion worth. They had to. But I don't even talk about it because of COVID. I don't even mention it, frankly, because of what happened with the China virus. We will not let countries come in, take our jobs, and plunder our nation. They come and do that. They plunder our nation. The way they will sell their product in America is to build it in America. Very simple. Build it in America and only in America. And this very simple formula, and Congress has to go along with us, and they will. This very simple formula will create massive numbers of jobs. We will take over the auto industry again, and many, many hundreds of thousands of jobs. We lost so many jobs over the years. If you go back 20, 25 years, they've stolen, going to China and Mexico, about 68% of our auto industry manufacturing jobs. We're going to get them all back. We're going to get them all back, every one of them. At the center of our plan for economic relief are massive tax cuts for workers that include something else that's turned out to be very popular, actually. Here it's very popular, in this building and all those hotels that I saw that are so nice. I'm staying in a nice one. It's called no tax on tips. No tax on tips. No tax on tips. I got that by having dinner recently in Nevada, where we're leading by about 14 points. Hello. I'll see you there very soon, everybody. And we're having dinner at a beautiful restaurant in the Trump building on the Strip, and it's a great building, and the waitress comes over. How's everything going? A really nice person. How's everything? Oh, sir, it's so tough. The government's after me all the time on tips, tips, tips. I said, well, they give you cash. Would they be able to find him? She said, actually, and I didn't know this, she said, very little cash is given. It's all put right on the check. And they come in and they take so much of our money, it's just ridiculous. And they don't believe anything we say. And they've just hired, as you know, 88,000 agents to go after him even more. And I said, this shows the level of my, most people go out, they hire consultants, they pay them millions of dollars. But I said to her, let me just ask you a question. Would you be happy if you had no tax on tips? She said, what a great idea. I got my information from a very smart waitress. That's better than spending millions of dollars. And everybody loves it. Waitresses and caddies and drivers and everybody. It's a large group of people that are being really hurt badly. They make money, let them keep their money. I'm going to protect Social Security and Medicare. Democrats are going to destroy Social Security and Medicare because all of these people, by the millions they're coming in, they're going to be on Social Security and Medicare and other things, and you're not able to afford it. They are destroying your Social Security and your Medicare. Under my plan, incomes will skyrocket, inflation will vanish completely, jobs will come roaring back, and the middle class will prosper like never, ever before, and we're going to do it very rapidly. But no hope or dream we have for America can succeed unless we stop the illegal immigrant invasion, the worst that's ever been seen anywhere in the world. There's never been an invasion like this anywhere. Third world countries would fight with sticks and stones not to let this happen. The invasion at our southern border, we will stop it, and we will stop it quickly. You heard Tom Homan yesterday. Tom Homan, put him in charge and just sit back and watch. Brandon Judd, the Border Patrol, he's incredible. These guys, they really, their job is a lot easier if they don't have to do anything, but they want to. They're patriots. Brandon Judd, Border Patrol, ICE. ICE goes out. You have to see what ICE does with MS-13. You have these are probably the worst gang, and ICE goes in there. And I know a lot of people in these rows here, and they're very tough people, but they don't want to do this job. They'll go into a pack of MS-13 killers. They're the worst probably the worst gangs in the world. We have thousands of them. I moved thousands and thousands out in my 4 years. We moved them out, and it was a pleasure. But ICE would go right into a pack of these killers, and you see fists flying, you see everything flying, and then they take them. They put them in a paddy wagon. They take them back, and they get them out of our country. And the other countries weren't accepting them back, and I called up, and I said, tell them that we're not giving them economic aid anymore. And the next day, I got calls from all of these countries that were terminated. Billions of dollars we spend on economic aid to countries that does us, frankly, no good. And the next day I was called by everybody. I couldn't take all the calls. Sir, what's the problem? I said, you won't take your killers back that you sent in caravans into America. You won't take them back. Well, sir, if you'd like us to, we would give very serious consideration to doing that. And within 24 hours, they were being taken back. For years and years, when I first came in, they said President Obama tried to get him to go back, and they wouldn't accept him. They'd put planes on the runway so you couldn't leave the plane. They'd close the road so you couldn't take the buses. They'd all have to turn back. As soon as I said no more economic aid of any kind to any country that does that, they called back and they said, sir, it would be our great honor to take MS-13. We love them very much. We love them very much, sir. We'll take them back. At the heart of the Republican platform is our pledge to end this border nightmare and fully restore the sacred and sovereign borders of the United States of America, and we're going to do that on day one. That means two things on day one, right? Drill, baby, drill, and close our borders. And by the way, and I think everybody as a Republican, as a patriot in this room, and most Democrats, we want people to come into our country, but they have to come into our country legally. Legally. Less than 4 years ago, I handed this administration the strongest border in American history. But you can see on the chart that saved my life, that was the chart that saved my life. I said, look it, I'm so proud of it. I think it's one of the greatest, it was done by the Border Patrol, one of the greatest charts I've ever seen. It showed everything just like that. You know the chart. Oh, there it is. That's pretty good. Wow. Last time I put up that chart, I never really got to look at it. But without that chart, I would not be here today. Never got to look at it. I said, you got to see this chart. I was so proud of it, and by the time I got to there, I never got to see it that day. But I'm seeing it now, and I was very proud. If you look at the arrow on the bottom, that's the lowest level, the one on the bottom, heavy red arrow. That's the lowest level of illegal immigrants ever to come into our country in recorded history, right there. Right there. And that was my last week in office. And then you see what happened after I left. Look at the rest. And if you go out a little bit further, it's getting to be a little bit old, but I love it anyway, right? But you can go much higher with those numbers. Look what happened right after that. The invasion began. We had the opposite. We stopped the invasion. But the invasion that we stopped was peanuts by comparison to what happened after I left. Look at what happened after I left. They took over our country. We ended all catch and release. We shut down asylum fraud. We stopped human trafficking and forged historic agreements to keep illegal aliens on foreign soil. We want them to stay on their soil. Under the Trump administration, if you came in illegally, you were apprehended immediately and you were deported. You went right back. The current administration terminated every single one of those great Trump policies that I put in place to seal the border. I wanted a sealed border. Again, come in, but come in legally. You know how unfair it is? So many people, hundreds of thousands of people, have been working for years to come into our country. And now they see these people pour into our country at levels that are unprecedented. It's so unfair. And we're not going to do it. We're not going to stand for it. They suspended wall construction, ended remain in Mexico. We had a policy, remain in Mexico. You think that was easy to get from the Mexican government? But I said, you must give it to us. If you don't give it to us, there will be repercussions. And they gave it to us, but not easy. Canceled our Safe Third agreements, demolished Title 42, implemented nationwide catch and release. That's catch and release, where we catch them and release them into our country. We catch them and release them into Mexico. There's a slight difference. And took 93, this is the previous administration, 93 executive actions to throw open our border to the world. The entire world is pouring into our country because of this very foolish administration. The greatest invasion in history is taking place right here in our country. They are coming in from every corner of the earth, not just from South America, but from Africa, Asia, the Middle East. They're coming from everywhere. They're coming at levels that we've never seen before. It is an invasion indeed, and this administration does absolutely nothing to stop them. They're coming from prisons. They're coming from jails. They're coming from mental institutions and insane asylums. You know, the press is always on me because I say this. Has anyone seen Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He'd love to have you for dinner. That's insane asylums. They're emptying out their insane asylums. And terrorists are coming in at numbers that we've never seen before. Bad things are going to happen. Meanwhile, our crime rate is going up while crime statistics all over the world are going down because they're taking their criminals and they're putting them into our country. A certain country, and I happen to like the president of that country very much, but he's been getting great publicity because he's a wonderful shepherd of the country. He says how well the country's doing because their crime rate is down. And he said he's training all of these rough people. They're rough, rough, rough. He's training them. And I've been reading about this for 2 years. I think, oh, that's wonderful. Let's take a look at it. But then I realized he's not training them. He's sending all of his criminals, his drug dealers, his people that are in jails, he's sending them all to the United States. And he's different in that he doesn't say that. He's trying to convince everybody what a wonderful job he does in running the country. Well, he doesn't do a wonderful job. And by the way, if I ran one of the countries, many countries, many countries from all over, I would be worse than any of them. I would have had the place totally emptied out already. But we become a dumping ground for the rest of the world, which is laughing at us. They think we're stupid. And they can't believe that they're getting away with what they're getting away with, but they're not going to be getting away with it for long. That's what I can tell you. In Venezuela, Caracas, high crime. Caracas, Venezuela, really a dangerous place, but not anymore. Because in Venezuela, crime is down 72%. In fact, if they would ever win this election, I hate to even say that, we will have our next Republican convention in Venezuela because it will be safe. Our cities will be so unsafe, we won't be able. We will not be able to have it there. In El Salvador, murders are down by 70%. Why are they down? Now, he would have you convinced that because he's trained murderers to be wonderful people. No. They're down because they're sending their murderers to the United States of America. This is going to be very bad. And bad things are going to happen, and you're seeing it happen all the time. That's why, to keep our families safe, the Republican platform promises to launch the largest deportation operation in the history of our country. Even larger than that of President Dwight D. Eisenhower from many years ago. You know, he was a moderate, but he believed very strongly in borders. He had the largest deportation operation we've ever had. Just recently, I spoke to the grieving mother of Jocelyn, Nungary, a wonderful woman. A precious 12-year-old girl from Houston who last month was tied up, assaulted, and strangled to death after walking to the convenience store just a block away from her house. Her body was dumped near the side of the road in a shallow creek, found by some onlookers who couldn't believe what they had witnessed. Charged with Jocelyn's heinous murder are 2 illegal aliens from Venezuela who came across our border, were in custody, and were then released into the country by this horrible, horrible administration that we have right now. I also met recently with the heartbroken mother and sister of Rachel Morin. Rachel was a 37-year-old mom of 5 beautiful children who was brutally raped and murdered while out on a run. She wanted to keep herself in good shape. It was very important to her. She was murdered. The monster responsible first killed another woman in El Salvador before he was led into America by the White House. This White House let them in. He then attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother in a home invasion in Los Angeles before murdering Rachel in Maryland. Traveled all throughout the country, doing tremendous damage. Rachel's mother will never be the same. I spent time with her. She will never be the same. I've also met with the wonderful family of Laken Riley, the brilliant 22-year-old nursing student. She was so proud of being first in her class, who was out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia when she was assaulted, beaten, and horrifically killed. Yet another American life was stolen by a criminal alien set free by this administration. And these were incredible people we're talking about. These were incredible people who died. Tonight, America, this is my vow. I will not let these killers and criminals into our country. I will keep our sons and daughters safe. As we bring security to our streets, we will help bring stability to the world. I was the first president in modern times to start no new wars. You know, we were the toughest, we were the most respected. And you saw this. Hungry, strong country, run by a very powerful, tough leader. Tough guy. Press doesn't like him because he's tough. And he came out recently, they were asking him at an interview, the whole world is exploding. What's happening? What's going on? Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, very tough man. He said, I don't want people coming into my country and blowing up our shopping centers and killing people. But they said to him, tell us what's going wrong, what's happening, what is it? He said, there's only one way you're going to solve it. You got to bring President Trump back to the United States because he kept everybody at bay. True. He used a word I wouldn't use because I can't use that word. Because you'd say it was braggadocious. The press would say he was a braggart. I'm not a braggart. But Viktor Orban said it. He said Russia was afraid of him. China was afraid of him. Everybody was afraid of him. Nothing was going to happen. The whole world was at peace. And now the world is blowing up around us. All of these things that you read about were not going to happen. Under President Bush, Russia invaded Georgia. Under President Obama, Russia took Crimea. Under the current administration, Russia is after all of Ukraine. Under President Trump, Russia took nothing. We defeated 100% of ISIS in Syria and Iraq, something that was said to take 5 years, sir. It'll take 5 years, sir. We did it in a matter of a couple of months. We have a great military. Our military is not woke. It's just some of the fools on top that are woke. I got along very well. North Korea, Kim Jong-un, I got along very well with him. The press hated when I said that. How could you get along with him? Well, you know, it's nice to get along with somebody who has a lot of nuclear weapons or otherwise, isn't it? See, in the old days, they'd say, that's a wonderful thing. Now they say, how could you possibly do that? But no, I got along with him, and we stopped the missile launches from North Korea. Now North Korea is acting up again, but when we get back, I get along with him. He'd like to see me back, too. I think he misses me, if you want to know the truth. Our opponents inherited a world at peace and turned it into a planet of war. We're in a planet of war. Look at that attack on Israel. Look at what's happening with Ukraine. The cities are just bombed out. How can people live like that where buildings, massive buildings, are falling to the ground? It began to unravel with the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, the worst humiliation in the history of our country. We have never had a humiliation like that. 13 heroic U.S. service members were tragically and needlessly killed. 45 others were horrifically wounded. Nobody ever talks about them. No arms, no legs, face explosions, horrifically wounded. And by the way, we have a man in this room who's running for the U.S. Senate from a great state, Nevada, named Sam Brown, who paid the ultimate price. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. He paid the biggest price probably ever paid by anybody that is running for office, and I think he's going to do great. He's running against a person that is not good, not respected, a total lightweight. But Sam, I think, paid, really, we were talking about it with some of the senators that are working so hard for Sam, but he paid the biggest price of any senator ever to run for the Senate. I don't think anybody's ever what he did. He was a real hero, a really great person. And he's running, and I hope that everybody gets out and votes for Sam Brown. And we also left behind $85 billion worth of military equipment, along with many American citizens were left behind. Many, many American citizens, emboldened by that disaster. Russia invaded Ukraine. They saw this group of people that were incompetent. We took the soldiers out first. No, we're going to take the soldiers out second. If they would have followed my plan, we had a great plan. But the plan only kicked in if they did everything perfectly. And they weren't doing things perfectly, so we said it doesn't kick in. You know, 18 months in Afghanistan, we didn't have one, so they were killing them left and right, snipers. And I spoke to the head of the Taliban. You've heard this story. Abdul, still there, still the head of the Taliban. The press got on me, why would you speak to him? I said, because that's where the killing is. I don't have to speak to somebody that has nothing to do with it. And I told him, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again. You've got to stop. Because during the Obama administration, many great people and soldiers, but a lot of soldiers were being killed from long distance. I said, if you keep doing that, you're going to be hit harder than anybody's ever been hit by a country before. And he said, I understand, Your Excellency. He called me Your Excellency. I wonder if he calls the other guy Your Excellency. I doubt it. The other guy gave him everything. I mean, what kind of a deal was that? He walked out, gave him everything. Do you know that right now Afghanistan is one of the largest sellers of weapons in the world? They're selling the brand new, beautiful weapons that we gave them. But think of it. He actually said to me, but why do you show me a picture of my home? I said, you'll have to ask your people or one of your wives. But he could figure it out. And for 18 months, we had not one attack on an American soldier by the Taliban. 18 months. And then we had that horrible day where soldiers were killed. I was not there because of a ridiculous election. But we had that horrible attack. And they also gave up Bagram, one of the biggest bases anywhere in the world, air bases anywhere in the world, the longest runways, most powerful, hardened, thickened runways. We gave it up. And I liked it not because of Afghanistan. I liked it because of China. It's 1 hour away from where China makes their nuclear weapons. And you know who has it now? China has it now. We were keeping that. And now China is likewise circling Taiwan, and Russian warships and nuclear submarines are operating 60 miles off the coast in Cuba. Do you know that? No, the press refuses to write about it. If that were me running this country and we had nuclear submarines in Cuba, I will tell you that the headlines every day would be, what's wrong with our president? You don't even hear this. You're not hearing about this. Russia has nuclear submarines and warships 60 miles away, Mr. Congressman, from Miami, by the way, happens to be here. Correct? In Cuba. And that would not be stood for if it were somebody else. They don't want to mention it, but now maybe they will. And the entire world, I tell you this, we want our hostages back, and they better be back before I assume office, or you will be paying a very big price. With our victory in November, the years of war, weakness, and chaos will be over. I don't have wars. I had no wars other than ISIS, which I defeated, but that was a war that was started. We had no wars. I could stop wars with a telephone call. I could stop wars with just a telephone call. If properly stated, it would never start. We will replenish our military and build an Iron Dome missile defense system to ensure that no enemy can strike our homeland. And this great Iron Dome will be built entirely in the USA. We're going to build it in the USA. And Wisconsin, just like I gave you that massive ship contract, and you're doing a very nice job, Governor, right? Thank you, Governor. And they're doing a great job. In fact, I had a little design change, and we gave them a tremendous for essentially what we used to call destroyers. These are now the most beautiful. They look like yachts. I said, we have to take the bow, and we have to make it a little nicer and a little point at the top instead of a flat nose. And the people at the shipyard said, this guy sort of knows what he's doing. We have the most beautiful ships, right, Governor? And everybody's sitting over there. And it was a big contract that everybody wanted. I gave it to Wisconsin, but we're going to have a lot of that built right here in the state of Wisconsin and all other states. Israel has an Iron Dome. They have a missile defense system. 342 missiles were shot into Israel, and only one got through a little bit. It was badly wounded. It fell to the ground, but most of them are. And Ronald Reagan wanted this many years ago, but we really didn't have the technology many years ago. Remember, they called it Starship, spaceship, anything to mock him. But he was a very good president, very, very good. But now we have unbelievable technology. And why should other countries have this and we don't? No, we're going to build an Iron Dome over our country, and we're going to be sure that nothing can come and harm our people. And again, from an economic development standpoint, we're going to make it all right here. No more sending it out to other countries in order to help. It's America first. America first. We will unleash the power of American innovation. And as we do, we will soon be on the verge of finding the cures to cancer, Alzheimer's disease, and many other diseases. We're going to get to the bottom of it. You remember this gentleman that I don't want to mention other than one time I had to, because when you say the 10 worst, I had to do it. I didn't want anybody to be confused. But this man said, we're going to find a cure to cancer. Nothing happened. We're going to get to the cure for cancer and Alzheimer's and so many other things. We're so close to doing something great. but we need a leader that will let it be done. We will not have men playing in women's sports. That will end immediately. And we will restore and renovate our nation's once great cities, making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. And that includes our nation's capital, which is a horrible killing field. So many things. They leave from Wisconsin, they go to look at the Washington Monument, they end up getting stabbed, killed, or shot. We will be very soon very proud of our capital, again, Washington, D.C. America is on the cusp of a new golden age, but we will have the courage to seize it. We're going to take it. We're going to make it a current. We're going to bring this into a golden age like never seen before. Remember this, China wants to do it. Japan wants to do it. All of these countries want to do it. We have to produce massive amounts of energy if we're going to produce the new. If you look at some of the things that have been done, and some of the things that we're going to do. But AI needs literally twice the electricity that's available now in our country. Can you imagine? But instead, we're spending places where they recharge electric cars. They built 8 chargers at a certain location toward the Midwest. 8 chargers for $9 billion. Think of them as a tank for filling up your gas. Think of it. They spent $9 billion on 8 chargers, 3 of which didn't work. And if you were going to do this all over our country, this crazy electric mandate, if you're going to do this all, and by the way, I'm all for electric. They have their application. But if somebody wants to buy a gas-powered car, gasoline-powered car, or a hybrid, they're going to be able to do it. And we're going to make that change on day 1. So to conclude, just a few short days ago, my journey with you nearly ended. We know that. And yet, here we are tonight, all gathered together, talking about the future, promise, and a total renewal of a thing we love very much. It's called America. We live in a world of miracles. None of us knows God's plan or where life's adventure will take us. I want to thank Franklin Graham for being here tonight. He's an outstanding man. He wrote me a note recently. I have a lot of respect for him. Sir, I love your storytelling. I think it's great in front of these big rallies. But sir, please do me one favor. It won't make any difference. Please don't use any foul language. I was a little embarrassed. I said, he said, it won't make any difference. Actually, it does. The story's not quite as good, but I've been very good. The story is not quite as good, to be honest. I've got to have a little talk with Franklin, but he was great. He's a great gentleman. His father was so incredible, Billy Graham. My father used to love taking me to see Billy Graham. My father would take me to see Billy Graham at Yankee Stadium. He had the biggest rallies you've ever seen. He was a good rally guy, too. But he'd get up, and he was a fantastic guy. My father loved Billy Graham. But I love Franklin Graham. I think Franklin's been fantastic, and I'm working so hard to adhere to his note to me. I'm working hard on it, Franklin. But if the events of last Saturday make anything clear, it is that every single moment we have on earth is a gift from God. We have to make the most of every day for the people and for the country that we love. The attacker in Pennsylvania wanted to stop our movement, but the truth is the movement has never been about me. It has always been about you. It's your movement. It's the biggest movement in the history of our country by far. Can't be stopped. It can't be stopped. It has always been about the hardworking, patriotic citizens of America For too long, our nation has settled for too little. We settled for too little. We've given everything to other nations, to other people. You've been told to lower your expectations and to accept less for your families. I am here tonight with the opposite message. Your expectations are not big enough. They're not big enough. It is time to start expecting and demanding the best leadership in the world, leadership that is bold, dynamic, relentless, and fearless. We can do that. We are Americans. Ambition is our heritage. Greatness is our birthright. But as long as our energies are spent fighting each other, our destiny will remain out of reach, and that's not acceptable. We must instead take that energy and use it to realize our country's true potential and write our own thrilling chapter of the American story. We can do it together. We will unite. We are going to come together, and success will bring us together. It is a story of love, sacrifice, and so many other things. And remember the word, devotion. It's unmatched devotion. Our American ancestors crossed the Delaware, survived the icy winter at Valley Forge, and defeated a mighty empire to establish our cherished republic. They fought so hard, they lost so many. They pushed thousands and thousands of miles across a dangerous frontier, taming the wilderness to build a life and a magnificent home for their family. They packed their families into covered wagons, trekked across hazardous trails, scaled towering mountains, and braved rivers and rapids to stake their claim on the wide open, new, and very beautiful frontier. When our way of life was threatened, American patriots marched onto the battlefield, raced into enemy strongholds, and stared down death and stared down those enemies to keep alive the flame of freedom. At Yorktown, Gettysburg, and Midway, they joined the roll call of immortal heroes. So many just so many heroes, so many great, great people. And we have to cherish those people. We can't forget those people. We have to cherish those people. And building monuments to those great people is a good thing, not a bad thing. They saved our country. No challenge was too much. No hardship was too great. No enemy was too fierce. Together, these patriots soldiered on and endured, and they prevailed because they had faith in each other, faith in their country, and above all, they had faith in their God. Just like our ancestors, we must now come together, rise above past differences. Any disagreements have to be put aside and go forward, united as one people, one nation, pledging allegiance to one great, beautiful, I think it's so beautiful, American flag. Tonight I ask for your partnership, for your support, and I am humbly asking for your vote. I want your vote. Going to make our country great again. Every day I will strive to honor the trust you have placed in me, and I will never, ever let you down. I promise that. I will never let you down. To all of the forgotten men and women who have been neglected, abandoned, and left behind, you will be forgotten no longer. We will press forward, and together we will win, win, win. Win, 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 win. Nothing will sway us, nothing will slow us, and no one will ever stop us. No matter what dangers come our way, no matter what obstacles lie in our path, We will keep striving toward our shared and glorious destiny, and we will not fail. We will not fail. Together, we will save this country. We will restore the republic, and we will usher in the rich and wonderful tomorrows that our people so truly deserve. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, brighter, happier, stronger, freer, greater, and more united than ever before. And quite simply put, we will very quickly make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Wisconsin. God bless you. God bless you, Wisconsin, and God bless the United States of America, our great country. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
President Trump accepting his party's nomination for president. Joined on the stage here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin by his wife Melania, his children, their spouses and partners, and also some grandkids I think are in there as well. As also joined by J.D. Vance, this is from Ohio.
All right, everybody. Tezlyn Figaro here again. Revolt, the culture speaks. We are covering the RNC convention live. This was the final night with Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump. They got up and spoke. He spoke for about, I guess, a little over an hour. Not a little over an hour. He spoke for quite a bit. I want to go right to P. Rae. Are you still with us? Let us know. She's there live on the floor, a Republican Trump supporter. Tell us about the energy. And then I want to get into asking, you know, what you guys thought about it. Was his tone different? Did you see a different, you know, they said he had a different approach. He threw away his old speech and he was going to address the nation with a different type of tone. So tell me, what did you hear tonight? And did you see a different Donald Trump? And what is it like on the floor?
The energy on the floor is absolutely amazing right now. They just did the balloon drop. And oh my God, it's amazing. If you are a patriot, this is the place to be. The speech was very patriotic. I've gone to other speeches. I've noticed that this time around, he's not as energetic. I mean, I wouldn't say energetic, but it's not as lively as before. These speeches seem to be more calm and businesslike, which I truly appreciate. The crowd really responded to when he talked about making the country safer, when he talked about making sure that American wealth returned to our country, and then the ways that he stated that he was going to do it. Not only did he just come here and tell us what he was going to do, but he said how he was going to do it. And I'm sitting here in the hallway watching the let out, and everybody is walking. They are happy. This is a great place again. God bless us.
Do you think his tone was different?
That my president come back.
Do you think his tone was different?
Definitely.
You know, after the assassination attempt, do you think it was less? Because you know, Donald Trump is a king of petty. He can be pretty petty when he wants to. But do you think he was a little off? He didn't necessarily go there as much. You know, I've heard some of the comments that he made, but do you think he kind of changed direction?
No, ma'am. Like I said, like before last election cycle, he was much, doing the little things like that. However, I've gone to 3 rallies. This is my 4th time watching it, and the tone has remained the same.
Think we're losing a little bit of your sound.
Problem.
Yep. I think we're losing a little bit of your sound because a lot's going on there, so we can't hear some of what you're saying. But we only got about 30 minutes or so, guys, so make sure you stay tapped in. We want to deal with 2 issues that everybody kept saying they wanted to talk about, so we want to talk about that quickly in the wrap-up. There's something that everybody's been talking about on social media. A lot of the celebrities have been talking about it. A lot of the influencers have been talking about it, and it's called Project 2025. Take a listen.
I don't know if you're familiar, but have you ever heard of Project 2025?
Project 2025 is a far-right manifesto. It is a 1,000-page bucket list of extremist policies that would uproot every government agency and disrupt the lives of every person who calls this country home.
They're calling it Project 2025 because this is a plan that's supposed to go into effect upon the inauguration of Donald Trump.
And the mandate outlines policy priorities for the next conservative president. Is that correct?
It does. The Department of Education would be eliminated, cutting students off from civil rights protections and ending essential Title I funding for K-12 schools.
Deploying the military for the use of domestic law enforcement against protesters under the Insurrection Act of 1807.
Abortion care would be inaccessible and illegal no matter where you live.
It also has the repealing of Schedule F status for thousands of federal employees to allow a president to replace career civil servants with unqualified partisan loyalists.
We'd have a single leader with all the power of the state personally arrogated to him.
If enacted, Project 2025 would destroy the federal government as we know it.
All right, so there's been a lot of conversation about that. Former President Donald Trump has distanced himself from that, but the media showed clips where a lot of the folks that is connected to him, particularly with J.D. Vance and the Heritage Foundation, and saying that it's connected. I will say that I personally have a training program. I believe in training, recruiting, putting people, in position to be able to enact policy, and I just see it as something that's getting people who are on board to support the things that Donald Trump supports, or that administration, whether he's in it or not. But some folks are saying that it's just a conspiracy theory. I've seen a lot of conservatives online say, hey, it's just being used as a scare tactic. Don't worry about it. It's not that big deal. But $22 million has been spent behind this idea of Project 2025. So I'm going to go straight to you. Is it a real thing? Is it a scare tactic? Is it conspiracy theory? Or are you standing on business saying, no, these are the things that conservatives believe in, and we're willing to train, recruit, and put people in place to enact it?
Well, I'm definitely standing on business, and standing on business sounds like this. Donald Trump has addressed this. He's made it very clear that that's not Project 2025 is not a platform that he's running on. Agenda 47 is, and with that being said, I think the only reason we're hearing about it is because the left has to have something to come back with. The reality is Project 2025 is powerless to the agendas of the party, and irrelevant, if I'm just honest.
But do you believe the people believe the people who are putting $22 million behind it, that they believe in those policies?
So for the audience, everyone has an understanding of what $22 million looks like in politics. It takes $22 million to run for a local congressional seat here in Georgia, right? It's chump change. It's basically not even funded. But like I said, Donald Trump has addressed this. He's made it very clear that it's not part of his agenda. It's not anything he's pushing. He's written statements on it. And I think we need to let it die. That's what I think.
What's your thoughts? Real conspiracy, something to be concerned about?
It's real. I think some of the similarities between Project 2025 and the Agenda 47, there are similarities. And you also can see that governors across the country are implementing some of the same policies in their practices across the nation that are Republican-led states as well. And so also what you have in 140 people that were former workers of his that are on this Project 2025, also the big cheesy grin that the Heritage Foundation had when J.D. Vance was announced and said, hey, that's my guy. You know, they're openly speaking it, and some of them are, but they know that the rhetoric is very divisive because that's what they usually do. So they're trying to hold it in currently, but that's the policies that they push. And that's where we are. And that's down the ballot. That's what it's going to be.
Who is they?
The Republican Party.
Ariana, is it real, Project 2025, real, fake? Is it conspiracy? Is it a scare tactic? What's your thoughts?
Oh, it's as real as it can get. I think we all genuinely need to be terrified of what Project 2025 is. The outline that it has laid is not democratic. It's not going to better the people of America. Trump has outright lied and said that he had no idea who was behind it. Meanwhile, his members of his former cabinet, former appointees, are all up and down the board listed as authors of Project 2025. We really can't listen to any of the lies that he spews, but Project 2025 is real. And if Donald Trump gets elected, there are going to be multiple points in Project 2025 that will be implemented within his presidency.
P. Rae, Project 2025, real, fake, conspiracy, scare tactic? What's your thoughts?
I don't know if she can hear us.
Oh, her sound may be out because she is on the convention floor.
I would ask, why didn't he do it in the first 4 years?
He's doing it. He's been doing it.
No. I'm asking you. All the things that the left has, all the things that the left have convicted Republicans of doing, though they haven't, prematurely, or are saying that the Republicans are going to do. Republicans haven't done it yet. They didn't do it in the first 4 years. The first 4 years worked out really well, particularly for Black Americans.
Are they not working on the abortion ban nationwide?
I'm just curious.
Are they not working for a national abortion ban? Is that not a part of Project 25?
I just want you to be a little more clear about why they didn't attack the American freedoms in the first 4 years.
Did they not change Supreme Court judges? Did they not overturn Roe versus Wade? Are they not trying to implement a national abortion ban?
Make a long story short.
No, make this long story short.
I'm gonna make a long.
We want to make sure nobody talk over each other because I want to make. I like that. Make the long story long.
You got to get there.
Yeah.
Roe v. Wade. Okay.
I can't hear you.
Democrats and Republicans on both sides of the aisles for years wanted it repealed. Right? I mean, you're aware of that, right? Are you aware of or not? Are you aware or no? Are you aware of it or no?
How do we get to where we are?
So again, Donald Trump in his first 4 years, things worked out particularly well for Americans by all measures. As it relates to Black Americans very specifically, right? Things worked out a lot better for us under his administration than they are working out for us right now. And that is the fact. And so I think it's an illogical conclusion, and it's an emotional conclusion that people have come to. People have come to emotional conclusions based on the rhetoric that Donald Trump is, working to take your freedom.
I want to get P. Rae stuff. I'll just tell you where I'm concerned about bringing back stop and frisk. I'm concerned about police officers having absolute
immunity,
which Donald Trump has said. We all agree he has said out his own mouth. So those are the things that I'm concerned about.
And I hope you don't get pulled over and think they finna care about your Trump shirt.
Yeah. Well, P. Rae,
come on now.
Is Project 2025, the cameraman is enjoying this. Shout out to the cameraman. Project 2025, is it real? Is it a scare tactic? What say you?
It's real. It's real. It's a scare tactic, however, because the Heritage Foundation has policy since 1970. They're the same organization that gave us NAFTA. They're the same.
Oh, her sound's going out, and what she has to say so good.
Sides of the aisle in presenting policy.
Oh, I'm sorry, P.
I'm sorry. Sorry. So yeah, they have been presenting policy on both sides for years. Project 2025 is just another one of their projects. It's like the five of us decided that we were going to have a group called Beautiful Black People, and then we came up with a plan and we published that plan. Just because I am a Trump surrogate does not mean that Donald Trump is on board with the plan.
Okay.
Just because people who are affiliated with him are in Heritage Foundation, that does not mean that that's what Donald Trump is going to do. His plan is called Agenda 47, and it's 16 pages rather than the 900-page document that nobody has read, but everybody is acting like they can't, that they're just, so afraid of.
Well, I think you made a great point. I think you made a great point, P. Ray, because you're saying that it is a real thing. It's a real thing, but you're saying it doesn't hold any substance with Trump. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what I'm saying, because his plan is called Agenda 47.
That's right.
And Agenda 47 is not the 900-page Project 2025 document that everybody's talking about that nobody has read. That's what's most frustrating about me.
So do some of those policies cross over though sometimes?
They do.
I mean, can we be honest about some of those things?
Which policy?
Well, like bringing back stop and frisk or immunity for police officers, things that Trump has said. I mean, and it's okay. I just prefer people staying on business with it. Just say, no, I want to bring back stop and frisk. I think it was helpful to them. And again, Democrats have also, I'll be the first to say, I try to be fair on both sides of the aisle. I'll be first to say that in New York, and when you look at Democrat mayor, what he's doing, so he's on board with that too. I just want to be clear about it, that some of those things, would you say that some of those things overlap?
So let's talk about it. So stop and frisk is particularly frightful for a lot of Black Americans because of the rhetoric that's been pushed that we get abused in our community by the police. Right?
Did he say
and the rhetoric that gets pushed by the left, we get abused. I'm gonna give you some.
You know what happened though, right?
Can I give you some objective information? Let me give you some objective information.
I just want to be clear.
In fiscal year 2023, 250 Black men died at the hands of the police. Only 2 cases were involved with officers that were found to be wrongful or et cetera, so forth. So when you do the math, when you do the math, if I said all 250 Black men died at the hands of me, I just give you the benefit of the doubt. So they're all wrongfully murdered by the police. It would still be 0.0000367%, which when rounded to the first 4 places would still give you 0%.
Right, and next you're going to talk about how many people we kill each other.
It's not an epidemic. That's what I'm talking about.
The 250 people don't matter.
What I'm saying is police need to have the authority to protect the community, and they need to be able to do their job, right? Just like you, when you served, right? You were able to exercise a degree of discretion, right, with the enemy, right?
Right.
I mean, I was a ground combat soldier, right?
And I was a police officer.
My point is that that stop and frisk has been pushed as a very frightful.
It's very frightful.
Having a very frightful
People
impact.
found it very frightful.
I was recently pulled over by the police here in Atlanta. Officer was white. He asked me to slow down. I slowed down and I moved on.
That's one instance, brother.
Right? And I can't find when I talk to young brothers in the neighborhood, I can't find.
You live in Douglasville.
Examples. I can't find. I just told you I was from the inner city, right? And I just told you I'm in the hood, right?
In Georgia.
The bottom line is when you go into the hood and you say,
come on now, brother.
Who has pulled you over, snatched you out your car? Who has snatched you out your car and abused you?
Brother.
The reality is it doesn't exist.
It
is not about me. It is not about me. You can open up the police reports every single day.
You do know that information is true, don't you?
You can read the public files.
You do. You believe so? You believe the data?
Go read the complaints.
You believe the data?
Where are the people? Where are the people?
Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. So you believe the data? So you believe? Stop making this about the left and the right. Let's stand on business on what we believe. Let's stop with this left-right shit. Let's just stand on business. I know that's where y'all got to always, but the left. Let's just stand on business. We really can have a conversation without the left and the right. So my question to you is, do you believe that the data that's put into the police, that all of that is accurate, that everybody's being truthful,
the data that's reported by the police department?
No, and you believe that that's true? I'm just asking, do you think it's truthful, yes or no? You believe it?
I trust the data that comes from the community that I'm in.
That's it.
The data that comes from the community that I'm in is produced by Black American Democrats.
So that's he just got to do it, y'all.
I'm saying the
he
chief
really
of,
just
I mean,
got
the
to
chief
do
of
it.
police is
Man,
your
you
chief
are a
of
banger
police.
for real.
The chief
You
of
are
police
really a
reports
banger.
the numbers.
We are not
numbers are
talking.
from
So
our
what?
community.
So what? That
You
ain't
asked
what
me
we
about
talking
the numbers.
I didn't have, but I did not ask you about
the numbers.
But hold on, wait. I didn't
trust the
ask you
numbers that
about the
exist.
Democrats. I didn't ask you about the Democrats.
I'm saying I trust the numbers that get
Excuse me.
produced.
Hold
Yes.
on. That's a simple question. Do you trust the numbers?
Yes,
You
I trust
said
the
yes. I don't
numbers.
give a
Yes.
shit if
I
it comes
trust
from
the numbers.
Democrat
I
or
trust the
Republican.
numbers. I do.
And I don't trust the numbers.
do.
So that's
Trust the
it.
numbers.
We're just trying to get different opinions on trusting the
enough.
numbers. Fair enough. That's it. You trust the numbers. You believe that it's put in. I don't give a shit if it's a Democrat, Republican, whatever. You trust the numbers. I don't trust the numbers. I run into people who have been over policed. It's not everybody. It's not. Nobody's saying it's an overwhelming amount. Nobody's saying that, oh, every single time a black person. That's ridiculous. Nobody's being ridiculous about it. What we're saying is that does exist. So to say, hold on one second, please, right? To say that it doesn't exist at all and that it's a myth and that it just is all made up is disrespectful to those who have endured issues with stop and frisk. That's it. Can we just be adult enough to acknowledge that there's just no absolute? Just because it hasn't happened to you, brother, don't mean it don't happen to other people.
This is not about me. This is about the
But you
objective
used
evidence.
you as an example.
I gave you the objective evidence.
But you gave an example based on you.
250 black men, and if we assume that
But you
all
gave an example based on you.
But what I'm telling you,
their lives not matter at all? They're just a data
is that when
point.
you go into the community and you talk to brothers
this
aren't
is
telling
yes or
you
no.
that the police are abusing them out here on the streets.
Have you ever
dealt with?
But brother, did you? I just want to ask this because this is important. Brother, did you give you as an example? Did you? It's yes or no.
Fair.
Let's just be fair about it. I got to make that. I got to make that.
So I work with the
audience. I got to make
that. Georgia Moms United, right?
Yeah.
Their children have been killed by the police. So the mothers of like Vincent Truitt, people like that, there may be a part of that 250 people that you're talking about, but don't just roll them over as the data point, okay? Because as you just said, Joe, 1 point don't matter. Their life to that family, to them, it actually matters.
I think that anybody dying at the hands, I think anybody dying behind violence, whether it's with the police or within the community, I think that's a tragedy.
You just said it was
What I'm trying to tell you is that there are things in politics, there are items in politics like stop and frisk that are pushed into our community to fearmonger us into into behaving a certain way. And what I'm saying is you have to get the objective evidence to substantiate, and what we need to do in our community is to start substantiating some of the claims that we have been historically pushing in our own community
let's
to our
move
own
on.
people.
I would love to have you back to talk about stop and frisk,
Absolutely.
especially with New York, because they got a totally different.
That's a whole conversation.
They got a totally different conversation about stop and frisk.
But with all of this, you feel like the police should have free immunity to run how they want to. There's no checks and balance of their actions.
I never said that. I never said that. I never
That's
said
a part
that there
of,
was
is that
no.
not
I
a part of the
never
plan?
spoke in absolutes. And
Is that not a part of Agenda 47?
You said in the very beginning we want to try to avoid absolutes, right?
Did Donald Trump not say he absolutely wanted police to have qualified immunity? Did he not absolutely say that? Can we talk in absolutes now?
He did say
I want to give
He did say that. Let's let Pete Ray.
Can you hear me?
Pete Ray, we're going to
so I
this
want
is
to
great.
share something with you all from my perspective, and I'm a black woman. I live in America's largest black community, the Austin community on Chicago's West Side. And on Chicago's West Side, we love our police. We don't have problems with them. We want the people with the guns to go to jail. When we call 911, we want them to come with that steel to fix the problem. We don't hate the police department. And I find
nobody hates the police department. So since we're running down demographics, well, I just want to say, well, you saying I'm a black woman. I'm a black woman that served as a police officer, just to run down the demographics. I just like, since we're talking about I'm a black woman.
I know what you're doing. I know who you were, but what I'm saying is, where I'm from, in the city of Chicago, we don't hate the police.
No black people do. Black people
hate bad policing. There's a difference between
black people don't hate. Let's start with this, y'all. We got to hold on. Let me just reset this with this. I'm a black woman. Everybody here black. Let's put that on the table. Everybody here black. Everybody here has lived. Everybody here, ma'am. Everybody here done lived within something. Ma'am. Everybody here black. Everybody done lived in the inner city. Everybody, your inner city ain't no more inner city than Inglewood, California. Ain't no more inner city than DC. Let's just put that on the table. We 2 hours in the show now, so we ain't got to keep talking about I'm a black woman in South Chicago. I'm DC. I'm Inglewood.
but what
I
I'm
grew up in a
saying is
whole
you all
pirate
try to
hood,
diminish where
ma'am.
he's from.
No, we're not
What I'm
diminishing
saying
it. I'm
is,
just saying
my
that.
hood, we're
I'm
not
saying
doing
that's
that.
not.
And
That's
I'm saying,
not.
don't speak
And I'm
on our
saying that's
behalf,
the
'cause we're not
foundation,
doing
ma'am.
that.
But hold on, you gonna hold up a minute
That's
and
not the
relax. No,
foundation
but you gonna
of what
relax.
we
You gonna
doing.
relax a minute. When you're starting the argument
I'm
about,
relaxed. I'm
ma'am,
super
can you
relaxed. I'm
relax?
having a brawl
Ma'am, I need
at
you to
the- I'm
relax.
relaxed.
Make sure you're in the
You can
studio
relax,
next time so
ma'am.
we can
I'm
be.
relaxed,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am, you relax a little bit more
Call
though,
me.
ma'am.
Send me the
Relax.
flight number and we can
Baby,
pull up.
I'll fly you in
I'm
myself.
relaxed,
I will
Tezlyn.
fly you in
Come
myself.
on.
Cause girl,
Send
we
it
can
to
meet
me.
up. Girl,
Yes,
we can
ma'am.
meet up
Let's
for
get
real,
it
for real.
done.
Girl, we can meet up for real,
Because I
for
wanna
real.
go to
Anyway,
more hair
yeah, we going
spots.
back, girl. I know you
Yes.
don't want this.
Put
Cause
me
see
out
why?
there.
Anyway, girl, let's move on. Cause I'm about to. Let's move on. Let me get back to my
Yes.
chief. Let me get back to my chief mode
Hey,
before I
for you next-
forget.
the next
Before
episode
I,
will be
cause see, I'm
pay-per-view,
getting into the
pay-per-view.
military mode now. See, I'm getting into the I'm
agree.
getting out of the civilian mode.
Let's
Let me
get it,
move on.
honey.
Let me
No,
move
let's
on.
get it.
So I just want to say this though. Black people are not afraid of police.
Right, we're not
We
saying-
always we want
want
safe communities.
accountability.
Let's stop acting like black people don't that we hate the police. You talking to a whole police officer. So people don't have a problem with that. It's the over policing. So we'll move on.
We're asking for transparency and accountability.
That's it.
That's it. If we can get
That's it.
transparency and accountability, not just sweep everything under the rug, act like everything is fine. That's not accountability. That's all we're saying. So to give them qualified immunity, no, that's not okay.
I love you, P. Ray. We're gonna go viral. Let's try to go viral one more time, P. Ray. Let's move on to. Let's move. Okay, so people in the comments, we're trying to take care of everybody. My producers in the ear telling me, P. Ray, they want you to talk about Agenda 47. What do you want P. Ray to speak on with Agenda 47? So I make sure she. What is it? They want to know what is Agenda 47, P. Ray. The people in the comments.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. Agenda 47 is Donald Trump's plan that he is going to implement once we get him back in office. Agenda 47 is made up of very exclusive. I'm sorry, I'm pulling this up so I can talk and I'm giving you guys the full truth.
No problem.
What they want to do with Agenda 47 is the goal of it is to make sure that the people understand what he's doing in each outline proposal. For instance, one thing that he wants to do is end birthright citizenship, because we know that they have birth tourism. People come over here, they have a baby, then they get on the welfare rolls, but they've never paid a dime into our system. He also wants to have what are called freedom cities, and that's where they're going to take empty federal land, and then they're going to build manufacturing there, and then they're actually going to incentivize people to give birth so that we can get our birth rates up, right? Because again, we are pro-life. We want people to have the babies. We want them to be able to pay for the babies that they have. He also wants, on the economy side, that he is going to put tariffs on companies that leave the country in order to get cheaper foreign labor, so that when they come back and try to sell their goods in the United States of America, they don't get to enjoy the savings that they got from taking jobs away from Americans, which then will incentivize companies to stay here and work and have manufacturing like my grandparents did when they bought the house that I live in right now. He also wants to get us out of the Paris Climate Agreement, because what it does is it gives a lot of the authority of lawmaking, or the autonomy of how we make laws in this country, to a foreign international force. And he's saying that America is for Americans first, and therefore we are done with the Paris Climate.
I don't want to stop you, but I know it's long. I know it's 18. Well, I know it's 18 pages. Yeah, I appreciate your surroganceship though, for sure. You holding it down. And by the way, I love a woman with some fight in. I love it. That's why y'all always want me on the conservative side, because I love me a good challenge. So no, I appreciate it. Everybody else, y'all need to do your homework and go look online, because it's 18 pages, so we don't have 18 pages. I want to get on because we only got a couple of minutes left. But I know we're getting the reparations. I got the people in my ear, y'all. We getting to it. Hey, in the comments, y'all gonna stop running me now. Now y'all need to hold up and say, we trying to get it as much as we can. We got the producers in the comments, the comment caucus, they got me all over the place. But we want to talk about reparations.
Before we leave Project 2025, can I say one thing?
Sure. They're telling me to move on, but go ahead.
Just
one quick.
Quickly, why don't the Democratic Party have a plan?
Have a plan?
That's the only, I'm not upset with people coming together.
The Democrats don't have a counter?
Exactly.
Oh, hey, Hey, I want you to listen in, P. Ray and Republicans. This is where I challenge
as a
Democrats.
strategist, exactly.
That Democrats should have, if it is
outline.
a scare tactic, they should have a counter.
Exactly.
So I have publicly said,
Yeah.
why are y'all not, even though y'all saying 22 million is a drop in the bucket, they haven't spent 22 million to do the opposite of it. So again, founder of Push the Line with trains, because I believe in training, recruiting, putting people in position, and Democrats have not. Now, they did send out an email last week from the DCCC. I forgot who the congressman was, but sent out an email saying, we want you to donate $3 towards, I guess, Anti-Project 2025. But I was the first one, and my producer in my ear, boss lady in my ear, I sent it to her, and I said, what black people are on this? What we were talking about offline. If Democrats are doing something Anti-Project 2025, are you hiring black consultants? Because if the scare tactic, if y'all saying it's a scare tactic or real or fake or whatever it is, we do know that the people most affected by it will be black people. So if Democrats, I'm saying this is where I challenge Democrats, if you are using this as a scare tactic, then who are you hiring to go into these communities to educate? Because 9 times out of 10, it's probably white folks. Now, I know y'all don't like race, but this is where race comes into play. When you're hiring white folks to run these programs and use this quote unquote scare tactic, to me, it's about them getting the bag. Whether that's the 22 million that Heritage is doing, or Democrats that are not really hiring real organizers. So I'm glad, I think that's a fair point. You see how we can be critical of the Democrat side. We just want y'all to just sometimes say just something. Do Republicans to do anything
Just a little accountability.
Yeah, just a little bit of accountability. just a little bit. I will drag Democrats. I have no problem with it. It's just, we just got to keep it fair. That's all I'm saying. Let's move on to reparations. No side was talking about it. Not Democrat. They ain't gonna talk about it in 2 weeks. Republicans ain't gonna talk about it. We know it's an issue on the table. I always tell my reparationists who are out there, who I know of you in the comments, it's probably because you follow me. I told y'all at the rally 2-3 years ago that it's more than just hashtagging and talking about it. You need to start a political action committee, the same way Rashida Tlaib started a political action committee in Michigan that said no commitment. No commitment, we not aligning with nobody. So again, reparationists, I know y'all say you don't need a PAC. Yeah, you do. Every organization has a PAC. Immigration is strong because of the Dreamers and they PAC. So I'm going to challenge you, reparationists, again. Who are you running on the city, the state, the local level, way before it get to federal? So let's see where we stand. I'm getting to it. We see where you stand on, not necessarily see where you stand, but do you think the Democrat Party, who should, 90% of the black voters, 90% of Democrat voters are black. Do you think they have addressed the reparations issue, or do you think it's just been, oh, we're going to get a study? Because that's pretty much what they say.
No,
Let's
they have
get a
not
study,
addressed
and they haven't made any.
No, they have not addressed it on the federal level, which they need to. Every other ethnic group that has received reparations from this country got it at a federal level. And so there's things being done down the ballot. I know
state level, like
state level, like right now, they're doing introduced the bill here, HB 855. I believe that some of the Congressional Black Caucus here in Georgia got behind that to push that as well. I know Fulton County is doing a reparations thing where shout out to Marcus Coleman. He's on the board for Fulton County Reparations Board. They're doing some great research that they should be finalizing by the end of this year. So there's being done at different levels, but at the federal level, no.
Okay. So I'm sure, I don't want to put no answer in your mouth, but I'm sure you're going to say, you don't need reparations. You can do it by yourself. Pull yourself about the bootstraps.
I didn't say that at all.
Okay, what's your position on reparations? See how I got it wrong?
I think
it
you're very clear, and everyone else in this room is really clear that I don't support reparations.
Oh, well, so I was right by. Okay.
But that wasn't what I was going to necessarily say.
But I was right. You ain't dealing with rep. You definitely not.
What I
and I
would
need
say
them
is,
conservatives to know that because they keep thinking that they can get it on the Republican side. And I keep trying to tell them Republicans don't like big government, and that includes reparations.
That's right. And here's the thing.
Well, there's a way to do
what's
it.
confusing to me. What's confusing to me is how Democrats have made the argument for reparations since we've been majority voting for Democrats, right? And it's been, there's objections, there's been internal fight about it for 60 years. The Biden administration brought in 10 million immigrants, many of which landed in Chicago. Young sister here is from Chicago.
They sent them to Chicago.
And
they didn't land. They
from Republican
state.
Texas.
It was a wonderful strategy. It was a great strategy.
Well, they're not sent from Republican states.
They're in Chicago, right?
Yeah. Right. Got dropped off
by Texans.
And so
in Florida.
And so Chicago, was granted I think $53 million to fund illegal immigrants, right? There are 49 million Black Americans. If Democrats wanted to push for reparations, they would. The money that was spent in Chicago alone could have gave every black American $1 million, and you still would have had money left over.
Yeah, we just said that, but we asking you what the Republicans are doing.
So the point that I'm making is how we can, as black Americans, sit around and in this delusional state, believing that we're going to get it, that we're justified in getting it, to me, is beyond.
No, yeah, we don't think. We just want to answer.
Backpedal. We're not justified in getting it.
Okay, but back to the accountability. Hold on one second, because we got to get this on the record. And one second.
Yeah.
So you see how he said Democrats, they should be doing it. We're in agreement. Okay. But we're just asking why Republicans won't do it. And the answer is Republicans don't believe in big government.
We don't
just
believe
stand
in
on business. That's all.
I said that earlier.
We just want you to stand on business.
But Republicans don't believe in big government.
That's right. And reparations would be big government.
I particularly don't. But
that's all I just want on business, because a lot of the hold on one second, P-Ray, because a lot of the conservatives on Twitter that keep on talking about immigration, they're also big reparationists. And I keep trying to tell them, Republicans are not lining up with that. You can argue if they're racist or not, but it's not even about that. It's about big government.
That's right.
Republicans don't want to spend no money on no big government. So I just need all of y'all in the chat that lean towards the conservative side. Republicans ain't spending no money on reparations. We just wanted it on the record. That's all.
But Go ahead, P. But what the Republicans have done as a couple of things to set us up for it. Number one, Justice Clarence Thomas said in his opinion in the affirmative action case that we cannot do race-based things, but we can do ethnicity-based, okay? So that's the first thing. So if we are to even have this conversation, we must establish ourselves as an ethnicity and stop talking about race. Number two, there are already mechanisms on the record, like what we're doing in Chicago. The reparations that we want are not for slavery, because Chicago was a sanctuary city for runaway slaves. We had 2 slave states to the south, Kentucky and Missouri, so people would run out of those states, come to Illinois, and then get to Chicago where they were not enforcing the
But P-Ray, but okay? You know Republicans still don't believe.
But we need, hold on.
But let's not confuse. Well, this is just a yes. I don't want to hear that though, P-Ray. I want a simple answer. Republicans don't believe. No, because that's confusing people. All I'm saying is we hear about the ethnicity. Bottom line is Republicans don't like big government. Yes or no?
But that's not. But
I'm asking you that.
We deserve reparations. That's what it sounds like. During Jim Crow.
I know that, sweetheart. But can you just say we already know that? But the host. But P-Ray.
Those are things specifically for us to fix, to repair what we've suffered
I understand that,
P-Ray. Reparation.
P-Ray, I understand
that. By that name,
I understand.
There are ethnicity-based things for us that are coming down the pipeline.
P-Ray, excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. The host got their name, got her hand up. Can I be the host? Do you mind just for a second? I hear what they can do. I hear what they can do and what they should do in ethnicity. I'm just asking you a simple yes or no question. I hear your talking point about the direction that should go and ethnicity and what we should. We've agreed on that. I just wanted to ask a simple question. Do Republicans, they are against big government? That's all. It's just a yes or no answer. I just want to know yes or no answer.
Of course.
Okay, that's it.
Absolutely.
It don't mean nothing. It don't mean that nothing you said was wrong. I hear all of that, and I think
Oh no, I'm not being defensive.
No, I know you're not, girl. Hey, I'm tough, girl. I'm a tough cookie. Don't worry about it.
Argument.
I believe that black people deserve reparations by ethnicity. Is that what you say?
No, girl, you fine. Girl, please, you fine. I can take it. Trust me. Even if you was being defensive, it's all right. I just wanted to pull out.
But the big government issue does not correlate to what they are doing for us or to what they're trying to push for us on an ethnicity basis.
No, but
that's
see,
what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying.
Ethnicity-based plan,
right?
Not race.
But the reparation is in the comments. This is just important that they know where to align, so that people are not confused. Right. I do think that more, again, I've said before, more black people should be in the Republican Party to make the argument that you're talking about. But what I do need people to know is the reparationists in the comments right now that I actually go speak at these reparations rallies that are talking about 40, 50, 80 trillion dollars, even more than what the American tax system brings in. What I want them to know is Republicans are not, absolutely not going to go for that they're asking for. You can definitely have your opportunity to say what they should do, but it is important that we put it on the table. Ariana, what's your position on reparations? Should Democrats do more? Are they not doing enough?
They're definitely not doing enough. I think on a federal level, Black people and whether you're considering it race or ethnicity, Black people are never going to get the reparations that they deserve. We have to look at it on a state level. I was in the room where it happened while they're drafting legislation in the Georgia State House for reparations. There was not a single Republican in any of those rooms drafting legislation, co-sponsoring any of the bills having to do with reparations, which is House Bill 955. They're not. It's a simple fact. We can see it right here that the Democrats, of course, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Democrats are perfect, because there's not a single party in this country that is perfect. But I am going to say that you have to look at where the Democrats are and where the Republicans are in our own homes, in our own states. The Democrats are there doing the work, trying to push for reparations, and the Republicans aren't, and that's just a simple fact.
You had something else, Scotty?
I felt like P. Ray's an
Hold on, P. Ray. Somebody else got to say something, sweetheart.
I can't hear y'all. That's all.
Oh, no problem. No
but
problem.
I wanted to know what P. Ray's argument was. She saying that ethnicity-based reparations we deserve? Because he said we don't need them. You saying we should. I'm just trying to get a...
I said I don't believe in. I said I don't believe in reparations.
But the reparations
I just wanted to clear that.
has to be to rectify the state-sponsored terrorism called Jim Crow. We want Jim Crow because Jim Crow is where the harm is. Our parents are Jim Crow survivors. So the United States of America has a fund called the Victims of State-Sponsored Terrorism Fund. If we get Jim Crow declared as a acts of domestic terrorism, then the U.S. government would pay into that fund, and then that fund will pay out the money. They're paying the 9/11 people.
No, we went all of that. But you might want to let Tim Scott know.
So why didn't they do this before?
Well, hold on, wait a minute.
Nobody has done it.
Well, we might want to let Tim Scott know, because all of the blacks that spoke this week got on the stage and said, "What no racism, and America ain't no racist country." So in order to acknowledge, wait a minute, let me finish my statement, P. Ray.
Systemic racism is what they're referring to.
It's definitely systemic racism.
In order to declare that, like you said, P. Ray, which we are in agreement, that Jim Crow was terrorism, we're in agreement. In order to do that, then that means Tim Scott and all the rest of them, and that other brother that got up there this week that said America's not, all of them said it wasn't a racist country. Somebody gonna have to agree.
But that's not
that
what
it's
they
a racist
said.
country.
That's not what they said.
He did. He said America was not.
They were refuting the idea that there's systemic racism.
No.
They were refuting the idea that there's systemic racism. Many Republicans before them have done.
But that's the same, same thing. It's systemic racism. Yes, it is. That's what Jim Crow is. It's a system.
Today in 2024,
no, baby, we ain't
very
play
difficult
that game.
to point at any real example of systemic racism.
Honey,
this country is a beautiful country that has almost annihilated.
Let's let P. Ray answer.
Systems perspective.
Let's let P. Ray take this one. We're gonna go to this conservative on this one because we don't know what this brother talking about. Jim Crow is a system, and that's called systematic racism.
Today.
It is, but it's not just Jim Crow.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's let P. Ray.
We still have damage from
Let's go to P. Ray. We're gonna let the two conservatives battle this out. Go ahead, P. Ray. We just gonna sit back and teach your brother.
So those systems the damage from those systems must be rectified.
Exactly.
And that comes in a plethora of ways, including monetary damages. Again,
For sure.
We know that for a fact. That was an act of terrorism. If we can pay people who were affected by terrorism abroad, the United States of America, my country, can do it for its oldest citizens. Okay?
Well, you heard that.
So that's somebody.
However, in the same breath, what I'll say is that when we talk about when we talk about racism, I will say that America is not a racist country. It's actually the best country on the planet for black people because I've lived abroad. I've lived abroad. And now, if you've never lived, I don't know where y'all live.
Girl, if you don't stop trying to keep putting these receipts out here on who is who, just stand on business.
Nobody down. What I'm saying is the Europeans that I've met abroad, they were
when people are saying a racist country, so ma'am, let's stop with the shenanigans. When people are saying a racist country, when people are, ma'am, hello, my name is Tezlyn Figaro. When we talk about racist country, we're not talking about running into nice white folks. We're talking about, girl, would you hold up a minute, home girl? Just wait a second, relax. When we are talking about a racist, just let me get my point. You doing all the talking, girl. You do know I'm the host, don't you, girl? Relax. When we're talking about, just relax. When we're talking about racist country, nobody's talking about running into a few good white folks. Well, I know that America's the best. Again, since we keep running down receipts, I served this country. So let's stop. Nobody's hold on, wait a minute. So nobody's disputing that. So we don't have to keep saying that. When people are saying a racist country, we're not talking about individuals, good white folk, good black folk. We know it's good white folks. What we're talking about is a system. The same system that you talked about with Jim Crow. The same system that we talked about with slavery, with sharecropping, with Jim Crow, with mass incarceration, that goes on with housing, with redlining. We're talking about a system. So when those brothers stood up there.
That occurs right now in 2024?
Ma'am, let's not move the goalposts. Let's not move the goalposts. We're gonna dig in. No, and I'm gonna answer, but you're gonna. I'm gonna ask, but you're gonna. Ma'am, I'm gonna answer, but you're gonna let me finish my point though. You don't get to. I'm gonna finish my point. That's how this is gonna go. Now again, because we gotta nail this down, because y'all the best at moving goalposts, and I'm the best at bringing it back. I'm the loop back queen. We gonna nail this down between these two Republicans. The bottom line is, you have agreed that Jim Crow is a system that has terrorized black people, a system that was a part of America's fabric, a system. And that's why we say it's a racist country. Your conservative brother over here said that it is not. He said that we ain't talking about today, 2024. Stop moving the goalposts.
I was talking about
let's go back though, because remember,
I did not say anything about Jim Crow.
But see, this is where y'all get on my nerve. But this is where, hold on, wait a minute. But this is where y'all get on my nerve. Because girl, don't you unmute that? I'm gonna get this point out. This is where y'all get on my nerve. Because earlier y'all wanted to go back. Didn't they want to go back to the '60s and talk about how we used to be in the 60s? When y'all years, when they wanted to go back, y'all wanted to go back. No, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. No. Y'all can't pick. We all got to get a word in. Hold on, guys. We got to be able to get a word in. See, this is the kind of shenanigans y'all like to play. This is what I'm saying. Y'all want to go back to the 60s when it's time to talk about values. Then you want to go up to 2024 and say, oh, nothing happened. Then you want to go back. Come on, guys. Let's be fair about it.
Let's listen to each other.
Let's listen to each other.
2024, right? We're talking about 2024.
We got 3 minutes to wrap.
Right? In the system of 2024, black women are under fighting. In this country, black women businesses get less than 1% of the finances. So what did they do to try to overcome that? They tried to build a fund, right? The Fearless Fund. Guess what they said? The system said that they could not implement a system to better themselves. That's called systematic oppression.
Okay. So I'm gonna go back to the point we were talking about, which was reparations.
I'm sorry, brother.
I gotta be able to.
Excuse me, brother. Let me get this point in really quickly. They said no race-based things. If we made that an ethnicity-based fund, they could have done it. So from now on, we got to make sure that everything we do is Negro first, not black.
Republicans ain't lining up with Negro first, but that's just my opinion. That's why it's only 12 of y'all at the convention.
No more foreigners can come and eat off our trauma is my point. And they need to get rid of race, and I'm glad that they're getting rid of race because too many foreigners are eating off of our Negro trauma, and we benefit the least. So yes, they got rid of that black fund, and they need to bring it back. And they ain't giving it to you.
Guys, I want to make a point that I think is relatively important because Tim Scott and Byron Donalds. I think Byron Donalds was most recently was very much ridiculed about some comments that he made around some successes that we had under Jim Crow, right? And I want for the listeners out there, right, however many of them they are, I want to be really clear. Black Republicans under no way agree with the terms and conditions in which we were living in this country under Jim Crow. When Black Republicans go back to prior to 1960, what they're always trying to point at is the things that were going on in our culture and in our community that were good for us and that united us, and that in lieu of the challenges of Jim Crow, we overcame and we had done quite a bit in building education, middle class, et cetera. Those are the things that Black Republicans are talking about when they go back to Jim Crow. Unfortunately, because there are a lot of people who like to counter Republican arguments for the sake of it. Right? For the sake of it, and from distracting from it, and for distracting from the issue at hand and the point that's being made at hand. Because there are a lot of Democrats that want to distract from the point that's being made in its validity, right? The argument changes, and they say that Black Republicans said, like they did to Byron Donaldson 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, that Byron Donaldson said that we were living better under Jim Crow. That's not what Byron Donaldson said. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what the young lady is saying. What we're saying is that as we progress as a society, blacks and whites, we need to keep in mind that there are things from our past that are valuable to us when we, hold on, let me finish. When we move forward.
We agree.
And just because a time was difficult doesn't mean you should abandon everything
we're fine with that.
from
But
your culture
your
and your community.
conservative sister,
And when you
we got to wrap it up.
When you carry
your
it forward,
conservative
you
sister,
need to keep
though,
that in
said
mind.
that we
That's the
deserve
point
to
that
get something
that's
back.
the
And that's the
Republicans
bottom
are trying to
line
make.
point. And we need to probably bring you back, P. Ray, in studio, because I want to see y'all talk about this. We're going to stay out of conservative business. We're going to stay out of conservative business. We just going to sit back.
Black Republicans not talking about reparations. Y'all talking about reparations.
No, your sister up here was talking about, your sister said, your sister, your conservative
sister. Republicans as a part, as a
well, P. Ray talking about it.
We're not talking about reparations.
Well, P. Ray says, I got to wrap it up, guys.
Nationally, we're not talking about reparations.
P. Ray talking about it, and P. Ray standing on business.
But I will say, if I were a Democrat and I hired a Democrat to get me reparations and I hired them for 60 years straight, and they failed, they be fired.
Okay, I ain't got no problem with that.
They be fired.
We got no problem with it.
60-year line.
There
ain't no credibility in that line. Nobody has ran the country for 60 years straight.
1964 to now.
All right,
that's when
guys.
the Civil Rights Act was signed.
All right,
they didn't even like your black ass before then.
All right.
87%.
What are you talking about?
You've been voting at 87%.
You couldn't even vote.
Bro.
You was a 2/3 of a person.
87% from 64 to now. 87%. You got nothing to show for it. The reality is,
how many Republican presidents were there?
The reality is,
for 60 years they were never Republican president
because the stuff that you support didn't work out for you.
We need masculine men
I
to
gotta
lead
close
and
it.
masculine men don't
Masculine men? Are you serious?
Thank you.
That's what I said. I'm a
All right,
feminist
guys.
woman. I'm a
Hey, guys. Make sure you had that. Make sure you had that.
I know.
I love masculine men, though. Ain't nothing wrong with. Hey, guys. I gotta close it out, everybody. Calm down, relax. Calm down, relax. This is the best. Man, this is the best of the best. It don't get no better than this. It don't get no better than this. This is called The Culture Speaks. I want to thank everybody for watching. Make sure that you follow Revolt on Instagram and subscribe to this channel and click the bell. So when it says notifications go live, because we're gonna beg Revolt. I'm gonna ask for reparations so that we can have this every month. Let this be our reparation. I want to thank Ariana. I want to thank, girl, I'm in love with you, P. Can I call you P? Can I put your P? I just love you to death.
Yes, ma'am.
You were awesome.
I think I follow you on Twitter.
Girl,
yes, thank you. I love you, Mo, girl.
Girl, I like standing on business. I respect it. Salute. You know, this is why we did this, guys. We have seriously. We have to have this conversation. No other network did it. Thank you, ladies, for being here. Thank you, brothers, for being here in studio. Thank you for everybody for staying with us. The comment caucus, as I call them, on YouTube. Make sure you follow us and everybody. And I see all your comments saying he destroyed Tezlyn and I destroyed him and nobody left destroyed. Nobody destroyed nobody. We just had a great conversation and we want to do more of it, guys. Peace. It's your girl, Tezlyn Figaro, the chief political correspondent for Revolt News. We'll see y'all next time.